Welcome to the California Clash featuring iRacing. My name is Eric Estepp. I am your host for the evening. In honor of the 30th anniversary of Days of Thunder's theatrical release, our producer Ryan Bauer and several others had the idea to put on this event, which pits top iRacers and streamers against real-world racing champions. And we even opened this up to iRacers from all over. Last week, 26 drivers locked themselves into tonight's event across 5 heat races and a last chance qualifier. Tonight's show is going to be one for the ages. We've got drivers like Bobby Labonte, Anthony Alfredo, Ron Capps, Bernard Pollard, Ray Alfalla, 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴, Cosey, and many, many more battling at the Auto Club Speedway in Southern California to be crowned the first ever California Clash champion. Thank you all for tuning into tonight, and wherever you may be and however you may be watching, be sure to tweet using hashtag California Clash and tell us what you think of the broadcast, who you're rooting for tonight, or just your favorite quote from Days of Thunder, whatever it may be. We'll be checking in on social media throughout tonight's broadcast. But in the meantime, what do y'all say we just get right into the action? Let's send this to the folks calling the race tonight, the fantastic Justin Prince and Roger Muth, Alex Hayden, the voice of NASCAR, and the legendary Bob Jenkins. Take it away, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Eric, as we welcome you this evening to the virtual Southern California and Auto Club Speedway for the California Clash featuring iRacing. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside in the booth is fellow sim racing veteran broadcaster Roger Muth. Along with us as well is the voice of NASCAR for MRN, Alex Hayden, and legendary broadcaster Bob Jenkins, with our producer Ryan Bauer in the production truck powered by Top Flight Computers. We welcome this evening whether you're watching along live on Out of the Groove on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Troll, and Twitter as we get ready to go racing at this 2-mile circuit in Fontana, California. It opened in 1997 with 14 degrees of banking and 4 corners. Its original banking still in place at the current present day. The front stretch has 11 degrees of banking, the back stretch just 3 degrees. As we get ready to go racing 100 laps, 200 miles under the lights tonight, Roger.
Well, Justin, we've seen a lot of heat races this week. We even saw a last chance qualifier. 100+ drivers registered here into this race for the California Clash. We saw racers, like you stated, from the real world. We saw virtual streamers. We've seen iRacing painters. We have seen it all here over the last week at Auto Club. These guys have put on great shows. You know, 5 guys from each heat race. We even had to add a 5th heat race before we were able to lock in the racing field here. And, well, the results from the heat races were great, and I am expecting here tonight at the virtual Auto Club Speedway, this show is going to throw it back to Days of Thunder. Let's see tonight who will be able to pull the rookie's chain out there and come home victorious.
Taking a look at some of the qualifying times, and yes, lots of preparations put in for graphics such as these. This is real telemetry data featuring all the RPMs and mile-per-hour speeds based to the old California Clash video game that was made with conjunction for the movie release. As you follow along with the drivers as they qualify around the racetrack just 6 minutes before these drivers will hit the grid tonight. Alex, turn to you. These drivers have been preparing for a week now, and for several weeks in practice races. But tonight's the big show. A lot of pressure is on the line tonight, with not just the sim racers coming in, but as well the rear world drivers looking to showcase what they can do in this car.
And absolutely right about that. And the beauty of this event is the fact that these drivers have the opportunity to race against a NASCAR Hall of Famer in Bobby Labonte. They raced against an NFL star, a Super Bowl champion, and Bernard Pollard Jr. is with us tonight. So different personalities, different disciplines of racing. Obviously, we've got our iRacing and streamers that are absolutely fantastic when it comes to this. However, there is an awful lot of pressure on the line. These drivers must get around this racetrack, try to keep the fenders clean. That's typical racing, plenty wide racing here at Auto Club Speedway of Southern California. And with these older cars, the old Chevy Monte Carlos and the old Ford Thunderbirds, these cars are going to be a handful on this old racetrack.
Absolutely. And Bob, want to turn to you because You called the races at Michigan in 1987. You also called the inaugural race at this facility in 1997. What are your expectations to see how these cars drive here tonight with what's expected to be fairly tight racing, but also fairly exciting racing to make sure you don't burn off the tires?
Always good racing here at this facility, and I can't believe, first of all, that it's been 30 years since we had the great production Days of Thunder, and I was, of course, privileged to be on that telecast, not on camera, but I did have a voice role, and boy, there's just so many memories from that, and it's great to see these cars that resemble those who were in the production of Days of Thunder. So I look for a great race. It's a very wide racetrack, so there should be lots of passing, and hopefully everybody will take care of themselves, and we'll have a great battle to the finish.
I think so, absolutely, Bob, and want to turn to you, Roger, because we've called the races with the heat drivers. But tonight, it's where everyone's bunched all together. Several of the favorites already up on towards the top in qualifying. Nathan Lyon, one of the drivers who has been quick all week. Fourth on the board, Anthony Burrows, one of the drivers who just qualified for the Pro Series yesterday, up inside the top 5. But don't forget about some drivers we haven't got the chance to see in some cases too much since then, like Ryan Bauer, looking to qualify his way up towards the front.
A lot of those drivers run right here onto the iRacing platform weekly. Some of them pros, some of them road to pro drivers. The ones that I'm going to be looking at are some of the drivers we have not seen all week. Bernard Pollard Jr., Bobby Labonte, Ron Capps. Those drivers, Anthony Alfredo, they have not been on track with a lot of these guys. Yes, there's been multiple practices all week here at the virtual Auto Club Speedway, but you have not seen them out there on track. So it's going to be interesting. Right now, Capps, Labonte, Pollard, they're actually a little bit farther down onto the speed charts than a lot of these iRacing veterans. So it's going to be interesting to see where they will all fall in tonight. There is one driver, though, that I am going to be taking a close look at here tonight. It's the driver of the number 8 of Logan Helton. Remember back to his heat race, he had problems towards the end of his heat race. Internet connection dropped as he was down there being affected by the hurricane slamming the Gulf Coast. Well, he had himself a chance in the last chance qualifier, and he was able to lock himself into this field here tonight. He right now is sitting right now in the 11th position. So for him to come and battle all those circumstances to be right here in the California Clash on the main event night, that's the man that probably has a second chance here to see what he can do.
Speaking of second chances, all 3 drivers who won on last chance qualifier night Saturday evening were all part of heat race 5, affected by the hurricane and by various other issues. Blake Reynolds, one of those drivers, unfortunately had to back out this evening, however, after getting stuck in an elevator. He'll be replaced by Bratka, who will be looking for a strong run tonight. It's going to be a fun field overall tonight, Alex, to see how they fared. Drivers meeting underway under 2 minutes to the grid.
Absolutely right. And you got to look at a guy like Colin Keister. He runs in the Coca-Cola iRacing series for Roush Fenway Racing. When you look at his iRacing numbers, guys, they're staggering. 1,270 career iRacing wins and only 3,100 starts. When you do the math, that's winning 1 out of every 3 times he gets on board and climbs in and starts racing here on iRacing. So guys like Colin Keister, with all of that experience, obviously he was fast in qualifying. I look for he to be one of the quick drivers to set the pace. It's just going to be a race of attrition, in my opinion, too. We're going to find out who the hares are, and we're also going to find out who the tortoises are who can hang around to the end.
Indeed. 36 drivers, by the way, have set times in qualifying. Among the drivers not to set times, J-Bo, Michael Guest, Joey Stone, Blake Ray, Alex Henderson, Jonathan Goodell, Ryan Doucette, and Blake Neer. Eric, just about 45 seconds to the grid. What do you have, sir?
Well, we told everyone at home watching to tweet at us using hashtag California Clash, and several people have already chimed in with who they're rooting for tonight. From Danny Phantom here, he's rooting for Moonhead. We'll see how Moonhead does in his California Clash debut. We also have one from Christmas Carrington, Anthony Alfredo. Let's win the California Clash. I want you to hit the pace car. So plenty excellent Days of Thunder references in here. Evil 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘆 is rooting for WinVow, Michael Cosey Jr. to get the win tonight. And we also have a Matt Decent here is rooting for Joey Stone, the eNASCAR Heat Pro League driver. He didn't put down a lap in qualifying, but hopefully he's able to get there at the end of this race.
See how he does. He was actually fairly competitive in LCQ night and was in contention for one of the transfer spots at each and every end of his stages. But qualifying is wrapped up. It's time to look at your starting grid for the California Clash presented by iRacing. On the pole tonight, it's Ray Alfalla, the four-time eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion, setting up 42.939, just the second driver the entire past couple weeks in practices, heats, or LCQ to set a qualifying time in that range. 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘃 will start in second. Chris Overland, a part of Wood Brothers Racing, will start in third, alongside Nathan Lyon, one of the favorites tonight from Roush Fenway Racing. Nexus Esports' Anthony Burrows starts in fifth, with Donovan Strauss from Burton Klugerman Esports and P number 6. Casey Carlin will drive the Jordan Machine for Denny Hamlin Esports and his Technical Alliance Dead Zone Racing from 7th, alongside his technical partner in Eddie Kerner. Rounding out your top 10 tonight, Roger, Caden Rush, who'll be driving the TobyChristie.com machine, and Michael Frisch, your winner of the First in Flight 400, organized by Podium Esports in the summer.
Starting just outside the top 10 here tonight, it's the man from the Checker Flag Motorsports Group. It's going to be the driver of the 8. This is Logan Helton. Rolling off into the 12th position, driving the number 7 here tonight, it's going to be Troy Sever. Starting 13th, driving the number 16, it's going to be Derek Justice. Starting 14th here tonight, he had a quick car in his heat race. It'll be the driver of the 22. It's Alex Kolonix. Starting in the 15th position, it's a very well-known name, iRacers. You all know it. It's going to be the 99 of Michael Cosey. Starting in the 16th position, it's Mac. Mac tonight, it's Mac Millen. Starting in the 17th position, you know him from the announcing world here on iRacing, the 00 of Gary Sexton. Starting 18th tonight here on the grid of these drivers, it'll be the 33 of Brian Blackford. Starting 19th, he goes by Ricky Harden. Hard in the wall, number 15. He'll start 19th. Starting 20th and rounding out the top 20 field, this is Chandler Parsons, driving the number 72 here tonight. That's your top 20.
That's a throwback to Benny Parsons. He'll be driving this evening with Cody McCauley in 21st spot with a 43.517. Trevin Perry will start in P22. Moonhead will start 23rd tonight alongside one of the fan favorites. It's Justin Malloy. Keep an eye on him. He'll start in front of Landon Huffman from Total Advantage Motorsport. Russell Bratka, replacement for Blake Reynolds tonight, will start 26th, with Andrew Player, one of the drivers from the fan vote, in 27th spot. Andrew Fitzgerald will start in 28th this evening in the 55 machine, while rounding out your top 30, Spencer Burns for Lowline Racing, and the driver in the Xfinity Series for Richard Childress Racing, it's Anthony Alfredo. Roger.
Starting 31st here tonight as the cars roll off the starting grid, driving the 25, it'll be David Schildhouse. Starting 32nd tonight, he came from deep into the field. A fan vote also, Brennan Bordeaux, starting in the 68 machine. Starting in the 33rd position, it's going to be Travis Martin. Ron Capps is going to go 34th, 35th, Bobby Labonte, Ryan Doucette, Bernard Pollard in 37th, 38th, Michael Guest, and Malik Ray, 39th. 40th is going to be Blake Neer, AJ Henderson, 41st. 42nd going to be Justin Barthoho, and then it's going to be Jonathan Caudell. 44th tonight, Joey Stone, one of the fan vote drivers. He'll round out our 44-car field.
That's a look at your drivers for tonight, as we're just about set to go. For VRS and Slip Angle Motorsports, it's Ray Alfalla in control of the field. For Roush Fenway Racing, it's 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘃 to his outside. The California Clash is green. We're underway from Auto Club.
A great start here by all these drivers. That inside lane, though, with that 27, the VRS Chevrolet will lead us into turn 1 here tonight for the first time. A little check up to the outside. Here comes Overland. He's going to get a bobble sideways for 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘃 as they're 3 wide out of turn number 2.
One car spinning against the wall. Several drivers in trouble at the back of the field. Ron Capps involved. Alex Kolonix involved. A couple others also involved. Still, though, Nathan Lyon fighting on the outside line with Anthony Burrows for the fight for P3. No signal yet from race control and a caution flag as those cars continue to try and get rolling and continue to scrap here, Alex.
They do indeed. We stay under the green flag. 100 laps in tonight's race. This is the California Clash. Lap number 1 goes in the books. Ray Alfalla. He is an iRacing veteran. He's going to open up now a good 4-car length advantage as they race to turn 2.
Crash there in turn number 1 on the first lap was not unexpected. They were 3, 4, and I thought 5 wide as they went into that corner. It was bound to happen. I'm glad, however, we've stayed under green and the racing continues.
And that's not a surprise, Roger, because these cars have been a handful throughout the week, very loose. And these cars, you have to save the tire to make sure you don't snap them.
We talked about all week long in the heat races how these cars like to body roll. They like to dance. A lot of these drivers like to hang it out and let it sit on the right rear. We saw that on lap number 1. The tire pressures were not up yet on these 87 machines. But right now, those tire temps here, after we completed the second lap, they are starting now to finally get into a little bit of a comfort zone. Look for these drivers to try and stay off that right rear here, though, tonight, and try and save a little bit of a tire for a long run as we work down the back straightaway.
There are no bragging rights when you race on lap number 3 of a 100-lap race. Simply need to find your groove, get your rhythm, figure out who you're racing around, understand who you're racing around, and continue to charge on. Ray Alfalla, the race leader, he's got now 2 car lengths over Chris Overland off the corner.
And looking comfortable, these are technical alliance mates, mind you, and they were teammates as well in 2019 in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Controlling the tempo early as we take on board Derek Justice, one of the sim racing veterans, where he won the biggest SOF race in oval history on iRacing, and one of those drivers competing in the Pro Series in the wintertime.
Justice running in 13th position. Right ahead of him is the number 17 car of 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴, and good battle shaping up for that position. Looking back from Keister's car.
Yeah, right behind him, that is Justice, and these drivers right now are starting to feel the cars out. We talked about the tires last time. A big move there on the front straightaway. You just saw off the 62's onboard camera shot facing forward. You saw Donovan Strauss and Kerner all go at it. Rush also right there. These drivers now are starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. They're knowing who's around them and starting to get comfortable. They know, just like Alex said just a little bit ago, it's going to be a long race here tonight. We're still only on lap number 5. There is one driver, though, that is back out onto the speedway. He's running into the 44th position. That is Ron Capps. He had a little bit of an issue on the first lap of the race, but you can see as we go on board with Capps, looking back, that is your race leader of Ray Alfalla as he is coming out of turn number 4.
Yeah, Ron Capps is 2 laps down. He's simply going to continue to soldier on out there. A long way to go. Who knows how this one's going to play out. But you're right. Keep in mind, 22 gallons in the fuel cell for these cars. However, I believe, if you guys need to correct me if I'm wrong here, 13 gallons as we got a car into the fence in turn number 1 hard.
That's Michael Cosey Jr. up against the fence of the 99 machine. No caution signaled yet. Trying to find a hole to get around down to the bottom of the racetrack. And a rough break for Michael Cosey Jr. early on in this one as Capps moves right out of the way in this one. Caution now signaled. This is a race back to the line for those who watched during Heat Race Night and LCQ Night. Drivers will race back to the yellow flag, and once all the cars have crossed the stripe, the yellow will then be thrown in sim. In this case, it's Ray Alfalla who crosses the stripe first. Overland, Kerwin, Lyon, Burrows, Frisch among the top 6 cars. Bobby Labonte also had an issue on that lap and immediately put his car in the tow truck as well.
So a couple drivers going to be involved down here. This is the replay we are going to be watching, looking at the 99. That is Cosey. What happens once we drive her down here into turn number 1? Contact there, just slight contact. That was the 62. And hard-nosed in to the wall there for Michael. It's going to be a long night to try and rebound from the damage on that.
It's taking our look from above, and Maconi, one of the drivers from ERL, just got the touch of the left rear. And that's just enough with these cars just to bob them around, especially if you overcorrect.
These cars definitely a handful. You know, we talk about them being the 1987 cars. 1987, Bob, you can attest to this. They were not the easiest cars to drive back then. They certainly danced, they shuffled around, and a little contact like that, sending those 2 cars up there, it's a handful.
Just the slightest contact can put the car out of control. And we mentioned earlier about how wide this racetrack is, and you would think that if there is contact in the middle or lower part of the speedway that they would scrub off some speed as they slide up to the wall, but that's not the case. That was a very, very hard hit, and you know, one of those things that you want to try to avoid, but thank goodness it's sim racing.
Indeed, first caution coming to 92 to go on lap number 8 of this race. Still lots of laps to go. But as you've seen with the race across the line, it was Alfalla by a decent margin. Now here's the thing, 13 gallons are in the tank to start, as it was referred to by Alex, but 22 gallons total is what you can put in. Most of the drivers appear to be taking that opportunity in live action, as you see the race at the stripe. Cycling single file among the top drivers, and this is no surprise. The drivers are taking the chance to put as much fuel as they can to make it a two-stopper to the end from here.
Now, Justin, we saw a lot of different varying strategies on heat race night. It's still early in this one. Yes, you're going to come down and get the fuel, but will anybody try the 2 tires here? Because, you know, if you slide through the field, it's not too late to rebound from it.
Track position is everything, guys. So, yeah, strategy may come into play. I don't think this will be our only caution flag here, especially now that we're going to be bunched up for a restart. You could very well get another one. That could extend your fuel mileage a little longer. And also, if you elect to take just 2 tires on this exchange, well, that can keep your other tires from getting too much more worn out than what they already were. So, lots of strategy can be played out right now.
Speaking of those strategies, you see the race across the stripe. You may have also seen a Brian Blackford charge to the pits. That's because he did not stop and miss his box. Anthony Alfredo also did not even come down to the pit lane. AJ Henderson also did not stop in that caution after missing his box, while Mac McMillan took 2 tires. With this track, and want to go to you on this, Bob, track position as mentioned by Alex Key. Your thoughts on these calls here early on in this race? Just a few laps turn, mind you, but the fall off has been about up to a second after 10 laps here this week.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Alfredo and the others did not come in for a full set of tires. However, strategy is so important in auto racing these days. You see it in NASCAR, you see it in IndyCar, you see it in just about every form of motorsport. You got to take a chance sometimes and go with what you feel is going to happen. And sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. For right now, Anthony Alfredo made a good call. He's in the lead, and Mac McMillan will be running second when the green falls again.
This is a quick yellow track, so 1 to go signal. Now, this is different from the previous nights. It follows the real-world type of racing back in the day, in the 1980s, where all drivers will line up single file on the outside. If there's any lap cars, they'll lap the inside. That's why you've seen Ron Capps at the bottom line. In other words, you're going to have to time this up very well. It's not like in the heats and the LCQs, Roger, where we've seen double file restarts in some team strats.
Yeah, so this is actually going to play very nicely into Anthony Alfredo's hands. He did not come down. He is actually the only driver that did not come down, because I believe I did see the 98 of AJ Henderson. He did come to pit road. So it's going to be Alfredo that's going to actually lead us back to green flag. He might be able to get a little bit of a jump here and actually leave Capps and the rest of the field behind him, and then try and let them play catch up. But regardless, this track plays like a super speedway. We saw a lot of that racing action in the heat races where, yes, somebody might be able to get out to about a half-second race lead, but they will pull them back in here with that draft down the back straightaway, and especially that front straightaway where you can make up time and you can dive down onto the apron. Anything is fair game here. There is no out of bounds.
There was also a penalty, by the way, to Blackford. He was given an end of longest line penalty. Right after getting all that track position, it is lost. But Anthony Alfredo in control of the field this time. Mac McMillan second. It's Carlin Alfalla Overland behind. Backing away from Auto Club. And a nice clean launch once again by the top drivers as Capps immediately backs out to give the leader some space.
Anthony Alfredo has the opportunity now to dictate the pace, dictate which line he wants to run. Yeah, his tires are older. He may very well be a sitting duck to the rest of the field, but he has the clean air over the nose of his race car down the back chute.
Here's the thing, though, too. There is 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 now, driving to the bottom side of the 23 machine, looking to try to take away second. And Roger, a couple times, 2 tire calls worked on LCQ night in particular. Not so much tonight already, as Mac McMillan loses the grip. If you lose the bottom line on the short run, you're going backwards.
Yeah, he was the only driver here to take those 2 tires under this first caution flag. We talked about it there very briefly under caution. Would any driver elect to do that? Well, the driver of the number 3 here was the only driver to do that, and you can see it as he is losing the ground, and now right to the back bumper, it's the iRacing veteran, the champion. This is Ray Alfalla. Now he has closed the gap. It's a little bit of a 4-car breakaway down the back straightaway as Overland is losing pace with the front 4.
Alfalla had a good start at the beginning, but Alfalla now is right back up there amongst them after the pit stop, battling for that 3rd position. It's a good one as they come off the 4th corner.
Quite a bit of contact with the wall, in fact, for 𝘋𝘺𝘴 as he continues to go backwards. Here comes Donovan Strauss in the Valvoline machine, and 𝘋𝘺𝘴, who had to fight through storms, had to fight through illness, all leading up to get himself in this race. Now dropping like a stone as Chandler Parsons went around into the grass in the corner. No caution. Also here in Bernard Pollard also had some trouble with no caution.
Well, they're just simply going to have to right the ship, take their medicine, and continue to move on. There's only 13 laps in this, so a quick spin down there. No harm, no foul. As long as they didn't slam the wall and get some significant damage to their race cars, drivers like Pollard and those who just spun should be able to grab a gear and continue on. So we got a good race for the lead at the line.
Yeah, Anthony Alfredo, the one that took those 2 tires. Right now, he's got 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 down to the inside. Alfalla is also right there, hot to trot on the heels into turn number 1 here on lap number 14. The outside lane not going to be friendly. A little bit of right rear tire. It'll kind of laying over there for the 21. Here comes, though, Alfalla. He's going to give a huge little shove down to the bumper there of that 21 as they go down the back straightaway. They will battle, though, still side by side for 2nd as Alfredo going to slam the door down into 3.
Really good race, though, here for 2nd position. Both of them trying to catch the leader, Alfredo. And let's see if one of them can get the advantage. The inside car is right now looking pretty good. That is 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴, but Alfalla is also right there looking for 2nd spot.
Anthony Alfredo stayed on the racetrack, did not come to pit road back on lap number 10. He can't block every lane, but he's certainly going to try it. He's doing a masterful job right now on older tires, going from the bottom to block that advance, going to the top lane to block that one as well.
And he's one of the drivers doing double duty tonight. Just took part less than 30 minutes before tonight's grid in his own Racing League's race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Had a rough night in that one, but now is playing smart defense here. Alfalla finally takes away the bottom, though, and he might get some help as long as they don't fight too hard, though, with Donovan Strauss to the corner panel of 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 on the apron, in fact, down the front straightaway. There goes Alfalla up to the race lead just like that.
You see these drivers right now, they are playing pretty friendly. Alfalla could have drove underneath.
𝘋𝘺𝘴 up in the wall. Cody McConley goes up with them. No caution yet as they stay up on the outside wall in turns 1 and 2, while Alfalla has the push now from 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 down the back straightaway 2 by 2, 3 rows deep for the race lead still as Alfalla tries to keep it on the bottom, and Alfredo just about gassed it up to hold on, couldn't get the cut though.
I like the way Anthony Alfredo is driving here. He's going to pinch the cars towards the bottom in the middle of the corner, force those drivers on those fresher tires to use all they can, but it's hard to keep a car at the bottom of the racetrack here at Auto Club Speedway with old tires, but a masterful job here early on by Anthony Alfredo. However, Ray Alfalla flexing the muscle yet again.
𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 trying to go right underneath, does have some help from Strauss behind. They've been fighting pretty hard so far, and for Casey, looking to carry some momentum from last night, had a decent finish at Las Vegas in the Coke race, and now takes the preferred line just like that. But this is to be expected, Roger. We've seen a back and forth affair to start these types of races, but as the tires wear out, the more these cars will end up in turn having troubles to pass, as here comes Nathan Lyon, his technical alliance mate, with a push.
Yeah, he's going to go right there to the bottom to get to his bumper. The inside lane is definitely going to be the place to be here tonight at the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. The outside lane, yes, Ray Alfalla's out there right now. We just saw Anthony Alfredo be able to hang on those older tires for a couple laps, as now they're going to go 3 wide racing down the back straightaway. It's 3 wide for the race lead here on lap number 18 is going to be Nathan Lyon in the Thunderbird down to the inside. The old looking paint scheme for Roush Fenway, as now it's going to be Ray Alfalla backing out there in turn number 3. They will go 2 by 2 and they will race off of turn 4 to the start finish line.
Nathan Lyon with the advantage, however, at the moment as they come off of corner number 4 and down the front stretch into turn number 1, and the battle becomes a good one for second spot.
Now he gets to play the lines, though, as Donovan Strauss, one of the young guns in iRacing, one of the drivers who will compete in the Pro Series this winter, trying to take the second spot away. One of the main keys when it comes to line to think about here, I want to go to you on this, Alex, as he tries to play defense. It's been a strong year. Won his first career race in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series with the Coca-Cola 300 at Charlotte. Was strong in the Firecracker 400 and led laps. This car fits his driving style, where he's been able to limit tire slippage to compete in races.
Yeah, well, it really does, and he's done a masterful job getting to this point in the race. He's been able to bide his time, keep the fenders clean, and he's a smart driver in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. He runs for Roush Fenway Racing. This is a guy who's so good at doing this type of racing. He's made tutorial videos for others to try to show them how to do this, to do it well, get them up to speed, and that's a great, obviously a great thing for a driver to be able to do. Share what you're doing to help grow this sport, and especially grow this form of sport as well in esports.
Absolutely, and give credit as well to Alfredo, because here's one of the key points. If you can make this work, there is the equalization point we're reaching now. The downside is, if Alfredo doesn't get the caution flag he's looking for potentially to even out the fuel mileage, guys, he's going to have to pit under green, because the furthest you can go with the 13 gallons is 30 laps, Bob.
Exactly, and that is, again, going back to strategy. It didn't or hasn't so far worked out for him, but there could always be another caution that results in him gaining an advantage. But right now, it's Nathan Lyon, a young man who hails from the St. Louis area, leading the way, but by just a few car lengths over Ray Alfalla and 𝘋𝘍𝘁𝘀𝘀.
Of course, Alfalla nice and comfortable here with 𝘋𝘍𝘁𝘀𝘀, but look at that behind, 3 wide. Eddie Kerner, Michael Frischke among the drivers now joining the scrap here. Keep in mind, big win earlier this season for Kerner that put him on the map, winning $10,000 in the LCQC, held by Landon Castle at Darlington. Now, he's looking for the 4th spot, guys, as Overland misses the bottom and way up the track.
Ooh. Nice save.
It really was. Did a heck of a job of really not only taking himself out, but taking out a handful of other drivers. But again, 22 laps in, just find a hole there in line, get back, make sure the car's handling okay when you get back down to the corner, and just kind of reset yourself, take a deep breath, and continue on. But yeah, what a save. It got very close.
So it got dicey as you take a look. Malik Ray among the drivers who elected to start at the back end. Here's one of the things when it comes to drivers such as him, Roger. He likes a challenge. Him and Michael Guest among the Coke drivers who started in the back. Guess what? Both of those drivers are up in the top 15 now.
Yeah, it's something that you learn with these drivers from the Coke Series. They do like the challenge, so they will start out back and try and race with a couple guys that they're not used to and kind of just flex the muscle, come to the front of the field. Now here on lap 23, they have now broken into the top 15, and they are looking for more. Malik Ray, one of those smart drivers, he's not going to go gung-ho right away and try to charge to the front. As you see, it's not lap 10. He's not on the move. He's going to save the tires. He will be here in the long run. Look for the driver of this 51 to be a contender by the end of this one. He has already moved up 27 spots. He is the second biggest mover. The other biggest mover tonight is driver of the 54. That is Michael Guest. He is up 29 spots. Those drivers are coming through the field. They may have used that little bit of pitch strategy also, but they've been making the moves all out on track.
There's Bernard Power now. He's now falling a lap down. He's had some struggles throughout this run after having some issues after the restart. And for the NFL player trying to move out of the way here, he's been taking a liking to sim racing, to say the very least, as Burrows moves up the groove. All those cars tried to squeeze down as he got to the apron. Pollard did, and Burrows got shuffled all the way up nearest the wall, and he's now being freight trained in his 29 car.
I'm keeping my eye on Anthony Alfredo. He's back to 6th position, but again, he has older tires, and with the car starting on 13 gallons of fuel instead of the capacity of the fuel tank, 22 gallons, he is going to need a pit stop before much longer or fall way back.
And give him credit, he's been having a stellar season, in my opinion, Alex, in the Xfinity Series, where he's had a few top 10s, has had a top 5 run with RCR, looking competitive tonight in this race as well, and keep it within range of the race leaders, even on the older tires still.
He absolutely has. It's been a phenomenal 2020 in a year that has brought so much change and so much disgust for a lot of people, and obviously a lot of difficult situations for people, but he has been able to flourish driving for Richard Childress Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. When he gets the opportunity behind the wheel of that 21 car in the Xfinity Series, he takes full advantage of that. When he can't race the race car because of obligations with the other drivers rotating through that seat, he's on iRacing.com, and he's out here and he's showing he's an outstanding e-racer as well. But you're right, we're having to take...
He got into Casey. Casey 𝘋𝘢𝘺 with a massive save. That could have been disaster. He's got into the back bumper of him.
Yeah, the back of that number 23 machine now has a little bit of a wrinkled up back bumper. 𝘋𝘢𝘺 saves it, but now he will fall through the field a little bit. He's actually going to get taken 3 wide. Here comes Ryan Bauer. He's going to work down to the bottom, sideways for the 7 of Troy. He was completely sideways going into turn number 1, and he was going to actually hang on to it. So we've seen back-to-back slides now by a couple drivers, and they are going to wheel and deal here tonight and hang on, but it is not over yet because that 23 of 𝘋𝘢𝘺 up there is still slicing and dicing, trying to hold off these strong competitors down the back straightaway here. And just remember, there's still Anthony Alfredo up here. He will have to pit here in the next couple of laps. We'll see how green flag pit stops will happen in just a couple laps.
Take a look at the back end of Alfredo once again. That next car is Colin Keister, who got shuffled out during the middle of this run. He's back in the top 6, but he has a technical alliance mate. That's Team Dillon Esports driver Michael Guest, giving him a shove along with Michael Frisch, also known as the Dankfish on Twitter. In Twitch, rather. Looking to all try and group up, because one of the main key things with this track, even with the 1987 cars, you need to have the draft to be able to keep up. If you are on your own, you're going to get reeled in by about 3-4 laps here at this track especially.
Guys,
go ahead.
Yeah, keep in mind with Anthony Alfredo, he's still running in the 5th position, keeping contact with the race leader. There's an opportunity here now. He's made his bed with the strategy that he elected to play out when the first caution came out back on the 8th lap. He could potentially get to pit road, get there cleanly, get there quickly, maybe do a 2-tire change, top it off with fuel, and he could potentially stay on the tail end of the lead lap. It's good for him to run as hard as he can and try to keep contact with the leaders. He could very well make a green flag pit stop and potentially, with the 2-tire change, hang on to the lead lap.
Now, Justin, think about this also here, because Anthony Alfredo, we had a caution lap, and Alfredo's been running in the draft the majority of this run. How much fuel do you think he can actually save under this green flag run, running in the draft, unlike what he is now up on the high side, as everybody's now lined up to the inside on him?
I remember this being discussed actually for the heat races, because it was tied in initial testing on fuel, where drivers were afraid to lead up at the front of the field because of the fuel numbers, and now Alfredo's that lead car for the time being. So in other words, I think this may make it a bit more tougher, may be able to get a couple more laps of the very most, guys, on this fuel tank here, as they're starting to lose the front drivers a half a second at least up in front to Nathan Lyon and co.
Well, that's a good point about him able to come in for possibly a 2-tire stop and stay on the lead lap. We will watch carefully for that. Right now, he continues to run in 5th position and has done an amazing job keeping up with the leaders with the older tires.
Take a look at Ryan Doucette as well, and along with Gary Sexton and company, among the drivers quietly getting themselves into a rhythm. Again, Fredo, the only driver who didn't pit under the caution flag. Everybody else came down. This pack is starting to separate a lot at the back of the field, guys, though, for drivers like Burns you just see. Already behind by about nearly 2 seconds, Alex, and that's costing him about a second or two a lap nearly.
Well, yeah, but keep in mind, everybody with the exception of Alfredo came to pit road back on lap number 8, or make that lap number 10, they came to pit lane. So when you look at a full 22-gallon fuel run, somewhere in the neighborhood of what, about 55, my math, I'm trying to do it in my head, about 55, 57 laps on a full tank of fuel. So you can give up some track position back there. I do believe we will still have at least one or maybe two more caution flags before the end of this thing. That'll bunch the field right back up. But who knows, if you have to have green flag pit stops, somebody could get themselves in some trouble. Who knows? You can spin getting out of the throttle and coming onto the brakes, coming to pit road as well. So if you're back in the mid-pack running a couple of seconds off the pace, I don't think you're out of this thing by any stretch of the imagination.
And speaking of the pace, this race is going quickly. Already a third of the way through. This will complete lap number 33. And right now it's still Nathan Lyon with the advantage over Ray Alfalla and Eddie Kerner.
Also keep in mind, Hayden Rush in this group, and we talked about this, Roger, where TobyChristie.com is partnering with that machine to throw back to Ricky Rudd in some of his other cars ran. And the 27 machine, nice looking throwback and nice pace shown by the youngster.
Yeah, he did a great night in his qualifying heat. He was able to lock himself in immediately. Did not have to go to a last chance qualifier and really get himself all worked up. He was unsponsored coming into the beginning of the week. He was out there searching. One of his crew guys said, well, as Anthony Alfredo peels off with his machine, he will come to pit road now here under the green flag. We'll see if he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap, if it's a 4-tire stop or 2-tire stop. We know he's going to have to fill it up. 22 gallons of fuel for Anthony Alfredo.
And these pit stops up to 22 seconds or so if you take 4 tires, about 12 seconds if you take a 2-tire stop. See how this plays out now for the 21 machine, who started back in the deep in the field, and with the track position was able to make it stick, has been showing great speed on the sim recently. Everybody else, remember, can go a significant amount still by at least another 30-40 laps, maybe, give or take.
Yeah, but it will be actually a 4-tire stop here for Anthony Alfredo, so it's going to be 22.15 seconds in his pit stall. Let's see if he's going to be able to get back out onto the racing surface, as here comes Nathan Lyon. So Alfredo will go 1 lap down. He will only join 3 other drivers that are currently a lap down: Bernard Pollard, Ron Capps, and Bobby Labonte, the only other drivers that are down at least 1 lap here tonight as we continue to work the green flag stretch. Nathan Lyon still out front with Ray Alfalla behind him, and everybody else is already, as you look down the back straightaway, they have single filed out.
Hey guys, don't forget though, with Alfredo, yeah, he's a lap down right now, but he's off sequence with the rest of the leaders. Because in another, 16 or 17 more laps, if this stays green, the leaders are going to have to make green flag pit stops, and Alfredo will take over the top spot once again. So a completely different strategy being played out right now by Anthony Alfredo, and we'll see if this one will work into his advantage once we get to the closing laps.
And you made a good point there, Alex. They are all going to have to pit again. And it's not going to be just once. With them pitting on only lap number 8, it was a 2-stop, possibly 3-stop race to start with. So they will have to make at least 2 more stops here tonight. So Anthony Alfredo could be sitting in the catbird seat.
It will depend a lot on cautions. If a caution can be caught by Alfredo, he can stay out while the others come in, and then wouldn't have so much of an advantage. If it stays green, however, well, let's just sit back and see how things play out.
Take a look at some of the cars, by the way, that are currently running in the teams. It's Logan Helton, you see, one of the drivers who advanced from Heat 5. And Roger, he talked about this on Heat Race Night, where he was looking to bring attention to himself for possible opportunities tonight. Doing so far with a decent run in his LCQ win. While our drivers will again, and Huffman and Travis Brown, they're scrapping and between contact. Oh, he's up in the wall, and there he goes. That's Donovan Strauss. Caution is coming out quickly, and there it is. That may pin Alfredo a lap down.
Race back to the line, though, will be between Nathan Lyon and Ray Alfalla. It looks like Alfalla may have already given up on trying to run down Nathan Lyon as they come out of turn 4. It will be Lyon coming back to the stripe here first. Then it's going to be the race for second now. It will be Alfalla, then Kerner. So that will officially trap Anthony Alfredo 1 lap down.
That's going to hurt for them. And here's another thing. Maconi and Henderson came down that time by to pit, so they're also now going to be pinned. So a couple drivers will lose some laps here. Nathan Lyon, Ray Alfalla, Eddie Kerner, Colin 𝘋𝘀𝘶, and Hayden Rush with the top 5 at the line as the yellow has officially been triggered on the track. That happened right in front of Moonhead here in the Barstool Sports Machine. A YouTube streamer who also broadcasts his own races in some cases nearly got involved in a massive one there.
He had himself a great heat race night as we watch it back here on our California Clash instant replay. And you can see, I believe it was out in front there, that it was just that we were talking about Logan Helton, and he made the slight contact there with the 50 or the number 5 of Donovan Strauss, and that's what turned him around into the outside wall. This is the onboard camera here.
And you see they're already blocking aggressive here. Again, Landon Huffman with some NASCAR experience, also races on the short tracks, also a part of Windshield Deep Media, and runs the Road to Pro program essentially for Dead Zone. You see the contact up the road as Brown just missed this. Huge shot meanwhile for the Stroker Ace car. That could have been even more massive than it was.
Yeah, a lot of drivers right there battling off of turn 2. It looked like a lot of drivers were staying in it. They saw the wreck, but they knew racing back to the yellow here tonight, they had to go for it. You can't just lift when you see the smoke in front of you here. With the old rules package here, the 1987 cars, the racing back to the yellow in California. I mean, you can't just give up when you see smoke. You got to go for it.
Landon Huffman, go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say the old rules do definitely change things. I mean, you're used to seeing the field frozen and not racing back to the caution flag, but now we're racing under the old rules, and it throws a whole new aspect into the race itself.
Yeah, significant damage was about to say on Huffman as here's the race back to the line. Of note, Nathan Lyon was running away at that point. Alfalla and Kerner among the drivers who were nice and calm in that line. The race of the stripe, though, there was a peak to try and take away second. Does not stick, however, as everyone else was able to go single file for the most part. Things were spreading out. But now, just like you talked about, Alex, these cars that you see spread out on screen from the race back to the line are about to be all bunched back up for another restart with 60 to go.
Well, yeah, and they're also going to have to come to pit lane right now. At least conventional wisdom would say, yeah, you'd better get to pit road right now. Top it up with fuel. We see right now they are doing just that. Put you some fresh tires on there, fuel, and get back out there, get the track position, try to hang on to it. But you're right, the old rules, as Bob Jenkins pointed out, really throws a wrinkle into things. And we've been so conditioned here as of late to the type of racing we do now. You got to think back on how it was in those days where the lead lap cars will restart single file in the outside lane. The cars one or more laps down restart on the inside lane. So some of those drivers who were a lap down or who are a lap down, if they get a good restart here, who knows, they could jump out and grab their lap back on the restart, hope for another quick caution, and voila, just like that, they're back on the lead lap.
Indeed, there are a couple drivers who have the chance to take a wave, by the way, with only a couple laps of fuel. Alfredo, Henderson, Blackford among those drivers. But one of our presenting sponsors for this edition of the California Clash is 62 Designs. 62 Designs is a custom wrap and decal company for the iRacing service with multiple designers on staff. Orders can be placed and filled very quickly. Please check out 62 Designs on Facebook and contact them for your next custom wrap. Want to go signal this time by as a couple drivers are also pinned on laps down, Maconi among them. Let's get back racing in just a moment. The blade yellow as everyone tries to bunch back up the field sees Lyon, Alfalla, Kerner, 𝘋𝘀𝘶 rush the race off the line for the top 5. Braca on 2 tires in 6th, Kerwin, Doucette, Burrows, and Frisch among your top 10 drivers. And as we go an extra pace lap here, one of our main sponsors for tonight is the Maconi Setup Shop. The Maconi Setup Shop is the home for iRacing setups. From short track racing to Class 8 intermediates, Maconi Setup Shop has it all. If you aren't running in a Maconi Setup Shop car, be sure to pick one up tonight. For more info, visit MaconiSetupShop.com. Again, old style rules. Bunch things back up with one more lap before we get the green flag this time got by. Justin Prince, Roger Muth, Alex Hayden with you along with Bob Jenkins, along with our producer tonight in Ryan Bauer, along with our host in Eric Estepp. Coming to 58 to go when we go back racing. 59 this time by your thoughts first, Roger.
Well, we've seen great racing here at the Virtual Auto Club Speedway here in the first 40 laps of this one. This is our second caution flag. You know, it's been interesting to see a lot of these strategies here tonight for a lot of these drivers. We already seen Anthony Alfredo jump off sequence. Now he'll be at the tail end of the longest line here. But the thing I'm interested in is how long can these drivers keep playing Russian roulette? We've seen 3 wide, 4 wide, and at one point we did see 5 wide. A couple of these drivers have already been up into the outside wall now with 4 tires and a full tank of fuel with just a little over halfway. We're going to see how some of those damaged vehicles out there tonight are going to handle on these super speedway-like runs.
Well, I have a feeling as we get the green flag here, things are going to settle down for a little while and then wait for 30 laps or so, and then we'll see a real shootout. The driver that I have been impressed with the most in this run is Ray Alfalla. He is still running in second position and has been up front virtually all evening. So let's see if he can stay up there and have a good finish here tonight.
Absolutely, as Donovan Strauss just beat the pace car trying to get some damage repair. There is one fast repair available, and from what I can tell, he is very pumped up to do so. He's one of the young drivers who is a part of Burton Cookerman Esports' content program, so to speak. They have a group of streamers who have potential to race in the pro level in the near future, who compete under their banner. Strauss among those drivers, David Schildhouse also among those drivers, who we have had a quiet night from tonight, as well as a couple others. So a very strong group of competitors there, and our strong group of competitors ready for the green this time. 58 to go in the California Clash from Auto Club Speedway. Let's drop the hammer one more time. Lyon, Alfalla, 𝘋𝘺𝘺, Keister, and Rush your top 5. As the green flag is up on the stand, we're backing away.
Great start, but oh, contact at the front of the field here. Nathan Lyon gonna make contact. Ray Alfalla into the back bumper. Eddie 𝘋𝘺𝘺 now gonna jump down to the bottom. They're gonna go into turn 1, and well, we thought it was gonna be a little bit of a tame start there, Bob, but now 𝘋𝘺𝘺 trying to hang on to her.
Well, it's the story of my life, being wrong all the time. But yeah, there's no hanging back right now. They are going for it all over the track, especially up here in the top 8 or 9.
And these drivers like the video game, going all full out, trying to get every track position spot they can, all the way back to 27th like Joey Stone here. Up towards the front, though, one car is losing it. Colin Keister has just looped it off turn 4 on the apron. What a mistake by the Coke driver. Joey Stone has also made a mistake. 2 more cars have also had trouble in 1 and 2. The caution is out. They will race back to the line, this time by after 3 different drivers spun out in the same corner.
Well, now this is going to be the drag race back to the start-finish line for the yellow flag. Another one going around Blake Neer, going to spin off with turn number 2 as he was trying to get all he could get. It is Nathan Lyon, though, that will lead us into turn number 3 with Ray Alfalla in tow.
Well, anyone trying to make a poke? Alfalla a little bit loose. 𝘋𝘺𝘺, though, able to get to the bottom side. No drafting help from behind. Gives the toe to line. Get caution out this time by Pollard. Will stay on his lap, while Nathan Lyon will stay in the lead. Alfalla stays in second. 𝘋𝘺𝘺, Rush, and Kerwin. The race back to the top 5 as the rest of the field catches back up. Well, that was chaotic to start.
Yeah, Bob told us it was going to be a little bit cautious, and well, boy, it was cautious enough to bring us a caution flag right from the drop.
Hey guys, something worth pointing out. Anthony Alfredo is back on the lead lap, finds himself running in the 29th spot, but Alfredo on a completely different strategy early on finds himself with these caution flags back on the lead lap.
That was a part of the wave for the last yellow after the quickie yellow. But here's why Colin Keister lost control. This was one of the main triggers. A couple others also spun at the very back of the field, including Bernard Pollard, believe. As we mentioned, these cars can be very loose in the corner, especially corner off if you're too hard on the gas. As you see right about here, bye-bye back in.
Yeah, once it's that far out, you're just along for the ride. There is no saving that Thunderbird as you see everybody go thundering on by him. And then there were some issues down here in turn number 1. A couple drivers also then getting turned around, and that's what triggered the caution flag. The initial spin there by the 17 was not the cause of the caution flag.
Get the official clarification is yes, indeed, you're right. You did catch that right there at the top of the line. Everybody was getting loose. Everybody in this run. That was Harden, by the way. Ricky Harden, the longtime sim racer. And this is also what happened at the very back that caused problems. Here's the look from Harden one more time. This is just after Keister lost it.
Yeah, it looks like pretty much the same thing, just opposite down here in turn 1. Harden drives it in. It goes a little sideways. He spins it around, and he sat at the top end of the speedway, and he actually backed it up right against the fence. He didn't want anybody coming in, destroying that beautiful Monte Carlo here tonight, but it was enough chaos on the track to throw the caution flag here via the iRacing officials.
Here's the race back to line, by the way, and again, nearly a change for second. Kerner tried to take a peek. Throwing back to 𝘋𝘠𝘶𝘯𝘥𝘦𝘳, his setup builder from Dead Zone Racing with that car tonight. Just couldn't get the edge, though, at the stripe. Finishes behind his technical lines mate in P1 and Slipstream Motorsports technical lines driver and VRS driver for the Coke Series in Alfalla, who finished in second. The stripe. There is a mixed bag, though, on the calls, though, again. Multiple drivers electing to either top off on fuel or take tires here this caution from the back half of the field. The front half, about 15th on forward, stayed out here. Eric, though, you're standing by.
Yeah, just watching the first little bit of this race, I'm trying to figure out if anyone's going to have anything for Nathan Lyon and for Ray Alfalla leading this field. But it was mentioned earlier that Anthony Alfredo back on the lead lap. We saw how well he hung on older tires the first run of this race. Now that he's sort of on equal tires, sure, he's lost all his track position. I have a feeling here this next run, he's going to be the guy to watch. We're going to be able to see how quickly he can carve his way through the field and get back towards the leaders. But right now, a lot of interesting strategies out there with the coming to halfway, about 50 laps to go once we get the green. It's gonna be interesting to see how this thing plays out.
Absolutely, Eric. Thank you very much. And you talked a lot about Alfredo and his off-cycle strategy. Now, Mr. Hayden, there's about 15 cars off cycle.
Yeah, there are, and keep in mind with where we're at on the lap count, lap number 48 about to go on the board. We're still yet to get the one to go signal as of yet, but those drivers who just came to pit road and topped off, you said from about 16th on back came to pit lane. I think it's foolish to think we're not going to see any more caution flags. I certainly think we will, but the fact of the matter is, keep in the back of your mind, it's worth noting that they can, in fact, go the distance now on fuel, those drivers who did come to pit lane. But for some of these drivers like Anthony Alfredo and even Mac McMillan, keep in mind, McMillan on the very first pit stop, he took only 2 tires on that to try to get track position, found himself bouncing off the wall in the run because of the older tires. He's back on the lead lap right behind Anthony Alfredo.
Now the scoreboard is showing us that Anthony Alfredo is running in 13th position and Ray Alfalla has dropped back to 18th spot. So forget about it being a mild restart. This is going to be very, very interesting, I think, when we go back to green. I hope I'm right this time.
Absolutely. This is going to be where we may see some bold moves as well. Again, at the moment, still 43 cars on the track. Blank near among the drivers still getting repairs. 39 on the lead lap, the last of them being Ricky Harden under this caution flag period. 52 to go this time by as the St. Louis, Missouri-based driver gets ready to bring us back underway once more. It's Lyon, Kerner, Kerwin, Doucette, Burrows, your top 5. Then Brown, Parsons, Kolonix, Burns, Jabo, your top 10. Green flag back up. We're racing again.
Looks like a pretty good start there by Nathan Lyon. A couple of them. Looks like Bernard Pollard back there. He was lined up the third car to the inside. He is down a little bit on the power in that Chevy Lumina, but it will be Lyon who leads us into turn number 1. Kerner trying to get around that lap down traffic. Still, that's something you gotta be cautious of as a couple drivers. Big wreck in turn 1.
Caution again. Justin Malillo among them. Troy Sabat upside down in the middle of the corner. Bratka with a blown motor. They're all trying to get back going as they race back to the line yet again. And as mentioned by Alex Hayden, expect an error caution soon, or likely in this race. We get it in about a corner. Lyon keeps McCauley pinned a lap down, while Kerner blocks Kerwin down to the white line at the stripe. Actually lets McCauley back on the lead lap.
Right at the stripe there, he let off the throttle. He let the lap down car get right back onto the lead lap. And boy, I don't know if that was team orders or what, but that was literally just a blip of the throttle there as you watch it back on the replay as they came across 3 wide at the line. With that big block behind him, it kind of jobbled everything up back there out of 4.
They're not teammates, should note, by the way. I think just thought, you know what? If you're keeping up, may as well let you have it. But look who hold on to second. 𝘋𝘺𝘺 had to make a big block on 𝘋𝘺𝘺 to try and hold on to that spot as everyone raced back to the line. And they were still spinning and going to the grass at that moment.
This is going to take a lot of our drivers out that were just outside the top 10 here. Watch it back on the replay. There's one down into the grass. That's what maybe triggered everything. Oh, he actually comes back out onto the speedway. And then you see more out of turn number 4 going around.
Yeah, right in the middle of the racetrack as Justice just dodges it. Hard hit. Believe that was Player that got hit right at the stripe. Ray had to dodge that one. Absolute chaos on this start at the halfway point of this race, as there's Bernard Pollard on the bottom side who watched all this. And Hayden, who are one of the drivers who was nearly involved in the first incident, just dodged the second.
Well, like they say in the movie, you aim for the smoke and you just go for it and hope that it's not there when you get there. It's exactly what Ricky Hart did as we ride on board with him. There you already see the spun out 𝘋𝘠𝘺𝘧 sitting there, and he just goes right to the high side and hangs on.
See Hayden zoom by some of those cars. Here's Donovan Strauss and Travis Brown now, on screen here among some of the other drivers. These cars got huge hits in the race back to the line in 3 and 4. This is Brown who lost it, that triggerless. And looking okay there. I don't think he got hit. It's just everyone else, as they try to dodge him, ended up hitting him. Or getting hit, rather.
Wreck avoidance by everybody there out of turn 4 to be mindful that that 01 Barstool sports machine was sitting there completely sideways blocking the track, everybody going around them. I mean, that could have been a lot bigger than what that incident was, too.
So, that was wild. How are things looking, though, Eric, on social media? What has been, all of a sudden, an absolutely hectic past 10 laps?
Yeah, now that we've hit the halfway point, it seems like everyone has just completely lost their minds. But folks watching at home on social media using the hashtag #CaliforniaClash, we've got here many different views, and many of the drivers in the field tonight are streaming their own perspectives, so you can see all the action firsthand from your favorite streamer in tonight's race. So you got plenty of great views right there. And then as well, earlier we saw Moonhead involved in this caution, but beforehand we saw him slicing and dicing a near miss to avoid that first big wreck. Here we go, channeling his inner Tom Cruise without a doubt. Great Days of Thunder references, but so far it's been a pretty tame first 30 or 40 laps. All that kind of calmness seems to have completely gone out the window at this point. We could be in for a wild second half of this race, fellas.
Thank you, Eric, and all I can say on that is welcome to iRacing. But I want to turn to you, Bob, on this as we pass this halfway point. Of course, the 30th anniversary to Days of Thunder. What was it like working on that movie back in the day and now seeing its success now that we're already up to 2020? Okay, let's go on this point then. At this point, Nathan Lyon, 𝘋𝘺𝘺, Kerwin, Doucette, and Burrows your top 5, by the way, with this one to go signal.
Yeah, we're seeing on this restart now. We've had 2 of them back to back, pretty much not getting a handful of laps underneath our belt here. Lyon will be our restart leader. He does have a fellow down to the inside. That will be Ron Capps, and he'll be joined by Bernard Pollard down there also. They will pull up alongside, so there will be lap down traffic here, Alex, when we go back racing. We've seen last time, though, we saw the 28 of Capps. He kind of just pulled off to the side. Do you think he'll do it this time, or will he go for it?
Well, if he gets a good restart, he'll go for it for sure, but he also understands the scenario. He understands he's a racer in his own right, understands he doesn't have the car. This may not necessarily be his evening, so just not get in the way of the leaders. Don't want to be the reason that you affect somebody else's race. So, yeah, I would expect, you know, cautions breed cautions. That's the old scenario in racing. That's what we're seeing right now, and I think mostly it's because drivers feel like Superman when they have these restarts.
That's actually the perfect way to try and phrase that one. His line gets a bump like Superman. Off and away as the lap traffic immediately moves off to the side, but our Pollard with damage already moves up to the bottom of the racetrack. Cap's moving out of the way of the top 4 race cars. So to the front for the first time in a while, it's Ryan Bauer already up to 4th now as well all of a sudden, Roger. And just like that, draft's pulling everyone back in.
Yeah, but Ryan Bauer, he has moved up 33 spots here tonight. He's one of those drivers that elected to start out back as they all slice and dice down the back straightaway here. Bauer now will be working under 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 down here into turn number 3. Remember that big block, though, that we saw coming to the yellow flag between Eddie Kerner and 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴. Look for that. Maybe keep that in the back of your mind for a little bit later on into this race, as Bauer now does take over that second position. Kerner is all over Lyons, though, at the start-finish line.
Caution coming out as everyone having trouble yet again. Alfalla, Jonathan Cadell, several others involved as everyone goes to the grass, including Anthony Alfredo, who takes the green cone with them.
It looked like Malik Ray also involved in this one down there. He was having himself such a good night, and now it might have all been for nothing. I don't know how much damage is done to the 51, but we will see once we get the replay queued up here. It's a back-to-back, another yellow here. Alex, you were right. These drivers, it's getting close, it's getting time, it's over the halfway point, they're ready to go.
Yeah, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and these drivers are going to have to understand that, because in order to finish first, you must first finish. And when your car is wadded up or sitting down on the infield grass trying to get it refired, that's not going to get you any kind of bragging rights, and that's not going to get you to the checkered flag, let alone get you to the checkered flag first. So with so many laps still left to race, just past the halfway point, I'm a little bit surprised by some of the aggressive maneuvering we've got going on, but I can sort of understand it because you're bunched up on restart. Once we had those long green flag runs, cars were able to separate. The drivers were able to flex the muscle, put some gaps between themselves and the competition. So you feel like when there's a restart and you're on the back bumper of somebody, you'd better take full advantage of it. And then also, as we see in these replays, sometimes you just feel like, hey, I haven't had the fastest car tonight, but I'm in this. Let me see if I can push the issue a little bit more, maybe get back on the throttle a little sooner than I had before and lose the back end of the race car like we just saw. So tough break there, but there's still a long, long way to go in this.
Tough break for several drivers. Take a listen. This is Colin Keister. And in the end, turned into a pinball as he spun in the grass. As Alfalla tries to get going, going to be frustrated there. Had a dominant car in the first third of this race.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, especially for those two drivers, because they were running towards the front of this field. Remember, they kind of took themselves out of the sequence once that third yellow flag of the night. Oh, look right there, just nowhere for Ray Alfalla to go. It looks like Donovan Strauss also was spinning. There you see the 17 coming involved, and numerous drivers down to the grass just to try to avoid and then try and hang on. There goes Ricky Harden also down through the grass. It's going to take a lot now for these drivers to work their way back up. Remember, they do have one reset, Justin, so they're going to come to pit road, and I believe a lot of them are going to have to use it right here.
Yes, indeed. A massive, massive crash. One of the biggest, if not the biggest already of the night and of the entire week. We thought that 15-car pileup we've seen in the LCQ was big. That was about 20 or so cars nearly involved there, and as you've seen, Alfalla used the faster pair. This still continues to play in the hands of the people who laid the different strategy card. They get clean cars as a result, and they still have the track position.
Something to keep in mind with this too, with so many cars getting wadded up out here in different incidents over the last 15 or so laps. The number of cars on the lead lap could start to really get smaller and smaller. So it's awfully hard to get your lap back here unless you're able to be in position to get a little bit of a wave around, or maybe just drive up and unlap yourself the old-fashioned way. But with more and more cautions that are taking place, and I expect more and more to continue here in this race, we're going to see the lead lap number of cars start to get smaller and smaller.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, there's 32 cars on the lead lap this time by. AJ Henderson is now done for the night. He's 8 laps down. He is upon the DNFs along with Chandler Parsons. Troy Sabat also done for the evening along with Blake Neer. So, want to go signal once again. Your top 5 still the same from the previous restarts. A couple drivers who, again, could have this pay off, though, Roger, still. Kolonix, he's up in 6th again. Lennon Huffman, even after being involved in that earlier incident, because of that fast repair in part, and because of staying out, he's up to 8th as well in all this. While drivers like Hayden Rush, they'll be trying to dive through and back up to the front after diving to the grass to take a look at some of these cars.
Yeah, but take a look at that 22. Alex's rear end of that Iron Maiden number 22 Ford Thunderbird, it is very tore up. I'm wondering now, though, how much damage is really done to that car. We talk about these cars being a little bit loose. We've seen them dance around a lot. With that much damage on the back end of that spoiler, that might be a little aerodynamic challenge once it goes down into the corner. Will the rear end just loop around here? We're going to find out, because with him restarting 6th, he's not going to take it easy going into turn 1. It's going to be full go mode.
Delayed green this time, so we'll go in our pace lap and restart at 41 laps to go. As a couple drivers had to bunch back up to the field, including some of the lap cars. So at this point as well, drivers like Michael Cosey Jr., a big fan favorite on the service, Roger, just missed that trouble after being involved in an early caution. People probably watching from Winval Val 8820's perspective are probably losing their mind right now.
Yeah, they're losing their mind, but they got to remember, he came down on lap 46, and now he's going to restart back here in the 15th position, and that's just not 15th on the outside lane. The lap down cars here are going to be to the inside. Some of them still have some speed left in the cars. They've just had unfortunate issues and have now been a lap down, and they will restart to the inside. So I'm going to be curious to see how much speed he can carry around some of these, call them a little dinged up race cars, and where he will wind up here in just the next couple of laps. I believe, though, this 99, it was quick earlier, and it's still looking pretty good. It will move to the front. He's got Caden Rush just ahead of him in the TobyChristie.com machine. Look for Ricky Rudd lookalike to also come to the front. There's some other guys. Logan Helton's back here. He's got a pretty decent looking car. So there's drivers back here with good cars that just have not been able to get back to the front.
And for others, they've been looking to buy some luck this entire week so far, such as Sexton was involved in early trouble in his LCQ race among the drivers who had to fight for a fan vote. Ryan Doucette, as mentioned, P3, one of the drivers as well with real-world experience in tonight's event. Races modifieds in the Northeast in real life at various different venues. He'll be trying to fall behind Lyon, the sim racing veteran, and Kerner, the very under-the-radar rising star of 2020, will be ready for the Pro Series this winter with Dead Zone Racing. Pace car is off. We're all set to race again. As Bratka tries to take the field on the lap's car side, Nathan Lyon just blitzed by him. We're back underway.
Yeah, back underway, and he's going to actually have to give back that race lead there. Nathan Lyon will now lead us down into turn number 1, and it's a huge jump. I believe we have some contact a little bit farther back as it looks like it's going to clear up. That's the 31 of Bernard Pollard down to the inside. Everybody is going to freight train around the outside as we come out of turn number 2. It is still Nathan Lyon who leads the way.
Good jump as well for Kerner and company as several drivers try to actually build the draft off the lap cars, and the reason they're doing that is the importance of the draft. The top 3 just took off there, Alex.
They absolutely did, but you know, there's still quite a few laps to go, 40 laps to go, 39 this time by. Use any car you can out there, whether it's wounded or a lap or 2 down. If it's running out there, you can get a toe off of it. Build your speed up, get the opportunity to slingshot, just like we're seeing going off into turn 1 right now.
And of course, this car on screen you see, Casey Curlin, who's already back up the Doucette. You see the Jordan Branding, a big announcement coming up earlier this week. Him and Denny Hamlin, a part of a real-world organization now, with Michael Jordan's announcement earlier this week. Of course, Denny Hamlin Esports has had Jordan as a sponsor for Casey Kerwin's car in the Coke Series this season. What were your thoughts when that news came out, as he tries to wield his 23 in the top 5 still?
That's some of the biggest news we've had in our sport in a long, long time, and it's great for a new owner in Michael Jordan to be a part of this. Denny Hamlin, obviously a longtime driver. Hamlin, in my estimation, will be a NASCAR Hall of Famer. At least he'll get my vote when the time comes. But when you have Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, already have that relationship with the Jumpman brand. That's Denny Hamlin wears those shoes, the driving shoes, and also the fire suits. Yeah, this is a big thing. This is big for our sport to continue to reach different avenues and have a new owner and a new race team coming into the sport. That's certainly never a bad thing.
And also looking for the big squeeze is Kerwin in this as well. Has some help from Kerner in front, and Burrows is going to work from behind. Blown engine, by the way, on the bottom of the racetrack. That was Bernard Pollard, who's had his engine expire. Also of note, Bobby Labonte has now joined the DNF list with Lyon still at the front. 38 to go in this pack, still trying to shuffle itself about, and Roger, with still many laps to go in this one, and still the potential of trouble with how big the pack is, how would you play this as a driver?
Well, if I'm Nathan Lyons, I just want to sit out front. I want to control this field. He's been doing a great job at it. But now he's got like Ryan Doucette sitting there, Anthony Burrows. They have not been quite to the front as close as they've been all night long. This is the first time they've been up here in this lead pack. It's 5 cars right now. So I think if you're these 5 cars, yeah, you see them right now. They are trying to race for position. If it was me behind the wheel, though, I would try and go single file, work with these guys, and just try and kind of separate yourselves. Right now, it's a 1-second gap back to the driver who's running there in that 6th position for Spencer Burns. And we haven't seen him up towards the front either. There's Derek Justice right there. Huffman's right there. Rush, they're all right there. But if I'm that front group, I just want to work together and run away.
Pay close attention, guys. iRacing does a phenomenal job of making things so realistic, and it's playing out right here. Watching this lead pack as they work their way, when they roll out of the throttle going into turn 1, as well as turn number 3, you'll see that flash of flame. That's coming out of the exhaust pipes out of the right side, which would be the passenger side of the race car. You can tell who's driving the car in deeper and who's rolling out of the throttle and letting the cars coast in. When you coast the car in by letting out of the throttle sooner, you're going to be easier on the tires. Furthermore, you're going to be able to get back on the throttle in the midpoint of the turn and drive off the corner better. So pay close attention to who's over driving going into the corners.
Especially with still some of these cars slipping and sliding in some time. By the way, approaching already 9 p.m. The track temp only has dropped 1 degree since sunset to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Still, top 5 cars separated by 5/10. Then it's about a 1-second gap to Justice and Burns. Frisch about 3/10 behind that in 8th. Huffman and Rush, the top 10. The first drivers who pit under some of the recent caution flags, by the way, are back in 14th, such as Donovan Strauss, who used a faster pair, Colin Keister as well. Blake Ray also deep in the field at the moment.
Contact deep into the field there. That is Donovan Strauss. He's going to go around down to the apron. He's going to be in the grass. I believe that was the 22 of 𝘋𝘠𝘺 who was involved in that one. We'll see if we're going to get a caution. I'm not quite sure here as we continue to race down the back straightaway. Donovan Strauss will now come back onto the speedway, but up front, it is still Nathan Lyons.
Well, big-time jinx, to say the very least, as Nathan Lyon looking to race to the stripe. The question's going to be, who gets second spot here? With the caution this time, Kerwin and Kerner. It's Kerwin who gets second, Kerner in third, Doucette and Burrows back of the stripe. So, 3 technical alliance mates from Dead Zone and 2 technical alliance mates from Nexus. 1 through 5, as we're back under caution again, Alex.
Yeah, it's our caution for the 6th time in tonight's race. According to my count, I may have missed 1 or 2, but keeping notes on that, about the 6th time. Now, here we are, 67. There'll be 68 laps complete next time by. I still believe tires are worth everything at Auto Club Speedway of Southern California. I know it's tough. It's a tough decision to say, do I give up my track position to bolt on fresh tires? With this many laps left, I say yes, absolutely. Come to pit road, put your tires on, know that you're going to have a good enough car, but you're going to have some luck on your side too. That's what I would do. However, it's easy for me because I'm just sitting here with the headset on.
By the way, again, as mentioned by Roger Muth, the caution was this machine. The Valvoline machine was sent to the grass. And it's in part with some of the craziness that happened with the 99 and 22 we're hearing. We'll take a look at what happened to Donnie Strauss to see what triggered this yellow flag. It was in 1 and 2. Roger, you've seen it.
Yeah, it was just down into the corner. There was a little bit of a connection issue with Max number 3. There you see it's there. Now it's gone. Now it's back. And then right in front of them, the contact between Alex and the 99. And, you know, nowhere for Donovan Strauss to go. It was just right there in front of him. He was hammered down to the bottom. The only other place he was going to escape was down to the grass. And ultimately, he was sent down there already.
What a job to keep it off the inside wall or from overcorrecting it. Here's a listed on board, the Scary Sexton. And absolute craziness as Guest nearly hit him in the door trying to floor it by him. So this bunch is back at the field, by the way, with the caution flag. As mentioned, the race of the line seen Lyon, Kerwin, Carter, Doucette, and Burrows, the top 5. But here's the thing. With these drivers up in front being on 20-plus lap-old tires, including the caution flag laps, those tires, like we're losing a lot of the good they filmed early on this race, so it should be no surprise. With the race to the line, majority of these cars you've seen came down in live action to the pit lane except for 2. And it shouldn't be surprised who. Alfredo, who's mixed it up multiple times, and Moonhead. Travis Brown stayed out this caution flag.
Yeah, it's kind of no surprise Anthony Alfredo staying out. It worked out for him last time, and maybe he sees a little bit of a trend that's happening here now. You know, caution after caution. That was our longest green flag run since about, I believe it was about lap 41. So now Anthony Alfredo will take control of this race lead. He's got the Barstool Sports machine right behind him, and Moonhead. We'll see how good that car can go when we go back to racing, because the front nose of that Thunderbird is pretty tore up.
The old one machine up to second. Kerwin, Lyon, Justice, Burrows, Kerner was the race off the line, though, meanwhile, for the pit lane. So again, back under yellow once again here at Auto Club. Plenty of racing to go. I'd like to remind you that our production trailer is sponsored by Top Flight Computers. Top Flight Computers is a small group of tech enthusiasts based in Raleigh, North Carolina, who would love to work with computers. They design high-end computers specializing in workstations, gaming computers, and custom water cooling systems. Whether you're using your computer to make a living or playing games every now and then, you deserve the best computer possible to help you succeed. Financing is available on custom builds via Square Capital and PayPal Credit. For more info, visit topflightpc.com today and use the code TFCRB1 during your quote process to save 5% on your custom build. Let's get back under yellow. 2 drivers staying out. 1 looking for the wave around. That's Brian Blackford, who's up in front of the field there. As we get ready to go racing once again. 30 to go this time, Roger.
Yeah, with 30 laps to go, Alfredo going to stay out here. Travis Brown, first driver on 4 tires, is going to be Casey Kerwin, Nathan Lyons, and then it looks like, actually, I thought I saw a 2-tire stop out there, but no, it is 4 tires for the entirety of the field here. So all those 4 tires, Alex, are going to be coming in a hurry. Can Anthony Alfredo now here in the late stages hold on like he did in the first half?
I think he will. His tires aren't quite as old as what these leaders that just came to pit road were, because remember, he got swept up in a caution flag not too terribly long ago, went down through the grass, sliding down there. I believe he came to pit road and put on 4 fresh tires then. So his tires are a little bit fresher. I think Anthony Alfredo is going to be able to hang on to the top spot. For how long, I don't know, because 3rd place running Casey Kerwin and on back, those drivers did just now put on the fresh tires.
We've talked about Alfredo a lot of times, but there will be a driver looking to hold on to a lap in front. You see Blackford? He's at the tail end of the 2-lap down group. In fact, back on our way as they're already 3-4 wide down the front straightaway with the traffic.
Yeah, a couple slower cars down there getting in the way. Anthony Alfredo, he will go into turn 1. He will be the 3rd car, but the race leader, as they're going to actually look to go 3 wide. Here comes 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴, almost contact out of turn number 2. Now here comes Travis Brown. It is go time for a lot of these guys. I think Alfredo and Brown know that they have to go, but they are just about 5, almost 6 wide down the back straightaway, about mid-pack.
I think Anthony Alfredo did a smart move there. He had the lap cars in front of him, knew the car directly ahead was 2 laps down trying to hang on. Those cars just simply didn't have it. They're beat-up race cars. Anthony Alfredo had to be smart about it, but the drivers behind him, they were full bore, headed off into the corner. So good, hard racing here. Different things to look at with these drivers when they go down into the corner. Anthony Alfredo, he drives it in nice and smooth. You've got Nathan Lyon, 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴, Derek Justice, and Travis Brown rounding out the top 5.
Back under caution as Maconi lost it off turn 4. So did Andrew Fitzgerald. The thing is with Fitzgerald, he took a car with him in the 68. They're racing back to the line yet again. And here's the big thing with all the craziness there. You see that car up in front? That's Trevor Perry at the tail end of the lead lap. Needs to block like crazy as already in the lead. It's Nathan Lyon with a caution at the line.
Nathan Lyon looks like he will win this battle, but it's going to be the battle for 2nd place. 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 going to nose out fast pasta. Anthony Alfredo going to go from the race lead all the way back to the 3rd position. Alex, those 2 tires maybe have overplayed themselves, or those older tires maybe overplayed themselves, because now those drivers, they have the knowledge of 72 laps in the books here, and they knew what they had to do to get around those older tires.
Yeah, absolutely right, but we're not done seeing the caution flags, I'm afraid. I mean, I think we both know that. So there's still plenty of opportunity. Maintain some track position. Wait till there's about, 10, 15 laps to go. If you get a caution in that neighborhood, go ahead, come back to pit lane. So yeah, I think it's about playing the cards that you're dealt and which way you want to go with it. We know Alfredo, he was off sequence from the get-go in tonight's race, trying to run his own race out there, and maybe that'll pay off. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I don't think we're done seeing the caution flag tonight.
Here's a look at the replay, and we've talked about it a couple times where drivers have pushed hard off the corner exit, Alex, lost the front nose, then in turn lost the back end. These cars are pushing it. This car drifted first off, and then they spun on the top line behind him.
Well, yeah, when you're riding behind drivers that have been on the lead lap and are fast cars, you want to ride their line. You want to see exactly what they're doing. You just try to mirror drive them. But sometimes you may have run out of talent, and that may not necessarily be the case here, but it happens an awful lot where you try to drive your car in a little bit deeper than what you're used to doing, and you find out really quickly that the car gets very loose.
Guys, I'm back with you. I sure have lost a lot with technical difficulties, but hopefully I'll be with you till the end of the race.
Good to hear, Bob, indeed. As here's that race to the line just you've seen with the blocks, but in the end, it's Nathan Lyon who ended up getting the run. 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴, Anthony Alfredo, Derek Justice, Anthony Burrows, the top 5. Now with the cars getting ready to group back up, believe now with Bob back, this is actually a perfect time to go to you, Eric.
Yes, we are getting close to the end of this race. We're in that final stage, but we still have some folks sending things to us on social media using the hashtag #CaliforniaClash. We got this great message here. It's so cool to hear Bob Jenkins calling this race. I'm getting flashbacks to my childhood, loving this to death. So we love that so many people are enjoying this. How does that make you feel, Bob?
It makes me feel great. And almost everybody that I hear from now indicates that they have flashbacks to their boyhood. And I realize that I had a great career that spanned more than 35 years. And it's good to hear people that age saying that they have been with me for many years. So it makes me feel good. I am happily retired, though. I want to point that out. And I have no desire to go back. I do miss the people. I do miss watching races and describing them. But the travel was just a little too much. And besides that, I reached retirement age, so I was done. But it's great to be with you guys.
But put me in the same boat. I've been a fan of yours, Bob, forever, and you're part of the reason I got into broadcasting. Being an Indiana boy growing up around the month of May at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, everything you've done there at the track as well as on the NASCAR side of things with ESPN. I'm one of those in the corner as well. Big fan, privileged to be working tonight's broadcast with you.
Well, that's very, very nice of you to say. I much appreciate that, and I'm glad that people oftentimes say they were influenced in one way or another by my work. Just gives me a real great feeling down deep inside. So thank you, and thank everybody else out there that feels that way.
I feel the same way, honestly, Bob. And when it came to how I wanted to call races as a broadcaster and my broadcast style, seen over the years, it was honestly your style broadcasting, play-by-play wise. That was one of the main influences on how you set the tempo, the calmness, and knowing when to bring the excitement at the right moments.
Right. Well, yeah, when Ned and Benny and I started working together, we decided that we wanted to do a race broadcast like we were sitting with you in your front room or wherever you were watching the race from, and just carrying on a conversation with you, not giving you all kind of statistics and play-by-play every moment and talking, filling every second of airtime. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to make you feel like that you were a part of what we were doing, and I think it worked. I'm glad it worked, and I in many ways wish I could go back to those days, because Benny Parsons was one of my favorite people of all time. Ned Jarrett was the epitome of a country gentleman, and he was so talented in the booth. And the thing that I really was amazed with Ned was he could keep an eye on Dale and know exactly where he was running and how many seconds he was ahead or behind whomever, yet he could also keep track of what's going on the broadcast. So I miss both of those guys very, very much, and glad I had an opportunity to work with the champions.
Back underway, and as you see, some of the drivers already shuffling towards the bottom line to try and get things going. 24 to go. Should note the work tempers that flared Roger in the pits. Apparently Alfalla ended up getting into Spencer Burns under the caution, and in turn both of them ending up having penalties.
Yeah, that happened on the race back to the yellow flag, and it continued down onto pit road. Now both those drivers are just about taking themselves out of this one as we continue to watch this race here. Nathan Lyons.
More trouble. Colin Keister again has had trouble. Lyons raced back to the line in first, as a lot of people saved it in this. I think Keister may have saved it. And now Keister is getting a hit from behind.
See that a lot on iRacing. Drivers think they did something to another one, they will come back up. You see it in the real world too, Bob. Drivers don't forget anything.
Absolutely, especially in short track racing, but we've seen that here on the 2-mile high bank track at California. So you're right, anything can happen, and tempers can flare at any moment regardless of what happens.
What a save, and I think a majority of the Coke drivers lost their mind on the radio seeing this. In the grass as well, believe that was Moonhead with Kerner. Here's a look from Overland, who lost it the most on the radio. Wow. Just missed it too by getting on the brakes just at the right time. Roger.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You hear it all the time on iRacing, as these drivers just saved themselves at the end of this one from being probably, at this point, a lot of these drivers have used up their quick repairs here. As we watch this replay once again from over top, you're going to see just to the left-hand side of your screen, all the action is going to start right there. The 20, the number 11 also involved. There is the young man down there in the grass also. Both of them going to be able to hang on to it. So they will live to turn another lap here tonight in the California Clash. And, well, all you got to do at this point, I think, Bob, is to be here at the end of this one.
Exactly. You got to take care of yourself in the car right now. We're so close to the end of the race, and the last thing you want to do is have problems while you're battling for position, because we've got enough laps to go that you can pick up positions in a more safe and dignified way than we're seeing happening right now.
Keister, a little bit of damage, by the way, from that. Oh, man. 21 to go, and now it becomes the question. You've mentioned expecting cautions. I know this is like a broken record question almost, but eventually you got to get a run, right? In your opinion? Like, how do you play this as a driver based on your experience in real life when there's been situations like this, Mr. Hayden?
Yeah, you know, you would think so, because these drivers, just like maybe the people watching this, might be getting just a little bit frustrated right now because of so many cautions. People want to see green flag racing, and more than anything, the drivers, they want to race. They don't want to ride around here under caution. So these drivers want to race. I think they've gotten to a point where they've said to themselves, you know what? Let's get a good clean restart here. I know what I've got. Am I good enough to pass the car in front of me? If you haven't all night long, why do all of a sudden do you think you might be able to be that way? So maybe I'm wrong. We'll see how this plays out. But I think these drivers, just like everybody, might be getting a tad frustrated. We've seen it, frustration coming up with the drivers themselves under the caution flag. Maybe it's time to settle in, find the race pace, and get this one in the books.
I couldn't agree with you more, Alex. That is exactly what we need at this point. Fans get frustrated, and that has to also frustrate the drivers. Let's just settle down here and go for it in a few laps. Be careful out there and finish the race.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Like to quickly thank, by the way, the sponsors here in the bottom side of your screen. That's Slipstream Creative Media, a racing and esports-oriented media company with a focus on design and photography. Be sure to check them out on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. For more, they make lots of cool pics. Can't wait to see some of the pictures from this one, because I think some of them are going to be splendid to see on social media as we get the one to go signal. 20 to go, coming in 19 to go, Roger.
Yeah, it'll be Nathan Lyon out front here with 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 in second. Anthony Alfredo, the fast pasta, he is sitting there in third. He has moved up 27 spots here tonight, running third with still a chance. Then it's going to be Derek Justice starting in the fourth position, and Anthony Burrows. He will restart fifth. He started tonight fifth. He's run about inside the top 10 all night long, and now towards the end of this one, he has started to rise to the front of the field. Those are your top 5 drivers here. We will go back racing from the virtual Auto Club Speedway here with just 19 laps to go in the California Clash. It's still anybody's race. The lap down cars will restart to the inside here still with 19 laps to go, so it will be interesting. Will we get that long green flag run till the end here? We're about to find out, race fans. It's going to get hot. It's going to get heavy here in California.
31 cars on the lead lap before we get underway once again. To remind you, our final presenting sponsor to touch upon, Sim Racing Shirts. Your one-stop shop for gear for all of your favorite iRacing streamers on Twitch. Get shirts from drivers like Mr. Ghostman, Rents the Fence, Corey Has No Life 13, Mr. F4 Speed, and former Super Bowl champion Bernard Pollard Jr. Log on to simracingshirts.com to pick up your next shirt today. Pace car is off as Nathan Lyon picks up the green flag, and a huge jump from 𝘋𝘢𝘺 off and away.
He got a great start, and 𝘋𝘢𝘺 did not let the 6 lift there when we went back racing. Anthony Alfredo kind of caught sleeping there. He will now have to clear the lap down car going into turn number 1 of Ron Capps, and he will do that, and here comes Derek Justice right along with him. Sideways there for Anthony Burrows a little bit back into the pack there, but everybody is going to be able to come out of turn number 1, so we will race down the back straightaway here.
18 laps to go in this one, and Nathan Lyon and 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 trying to run away from the rest of the field. They can understand a 2-man draft could possibly do just that. They're beginning to gap the third place battle on back as they race side by side for third.
Good run by Justice right underneath Alfredo again. Off cycle is that 21, but here comes Michael Guest. The team doing esports machine just looking to pick up the draft. Just enough to fall behind to the bottom line once again, and he's been slowly and methodically taking his spots tonight. And now he's drifting his spots to the bottom of the track. Still good run.
He'll be 3 wide here, looking off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Now they go back 2 wide in single file as Anthony Alfredo sliced off the nose of that Ford Thunderbird of the 29 of Burrows down the back straightaway. He now runs behind Justice there. Now Burrows going to be to the outside. Here comes Guest to the inside.
And now the big players are coming in forward through the field. This is to be expected with so many laps turned. Someone or someone's would eventually start pushing with how this race is played out. We're starting to see that still. Guess now looking to take away fourth just like that. What a near bit of contact in fact with the fight for Anthony Alfredo there on the slide up there to Alex.
Yeah, Anthony Alfredo knows he's got to get up there because the front two are beginning to put a little distance between themselves and third on back. It's about a half-second deficit right now. I like the way Lion, the leader, and second place 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴, what they're doing right now. Basically nose to tail, staying in a drive. As I say that, here goes 𝘋𝘋𝘺𝘴. He'll drift wide on the outside lane. As he slides out of that draft, that's going to enable third place on back to close in.
Wreck out of turn 4, a bunch of them turn around and up and over. And it looks like we will race back to the caution flag here. It's still Nathan Lyons, though, out front leading this group.
It's Ricky Harden and company bringing out the caution flag as now Lion, who's been the dominant car all race, looking to hold on, coming to 15 to go this time for the race back to the line. What a match.
He'll pull the bottom of the speedway here for Lion, and it looks like he should be able to outrun the 23 of Casey 𝘋𝘀🐺, but Justice going to go up the track a little bit. Here comes Guest. Will he be able to get the third spot at the line? He will not. It'll be Lion, 𝘋𝘀🐺, Justice, Guest, Alfredo at the line.
And Alfredo's strategy still looking better and better to get him back in the ballgame strategy-wise. Held on in front of Burrows to the yellow, but among the drivers hit hardest, well, it just so happens to be the YouTuber hard in the wall. It's Ricky Harden.
Guys, we're at that point in the race with just 15 laps to go, 14 to go. It's decision time. Do you come in and put on fresh tires? We know they're worth an awful lot. However, you're going to give up track position. You're going to potentially put yourself in the hornet's nest back there, but I think it's decision time right now, where whether you come in for fresh tires or whether you stay on the track and maintain track position.
Yeah, this could be very crucial as everyone's still catching up the pace car. This is a look, by the way. That was Burns who gave the helping hand for the spin. Travis Brown, nowhere to go as this Thunderbird's front nose gets, well, hammered in. The wrong type of hammer.
Yeah, that might be a night ender because I believe he has already used his quick repair. We'll take a look and we'll watch that. But here as we look back on the in-car camera with the 13 of Perry, as he was a little bit further back, let's take a look here and watch. Look at the hands. Yeah, there was nowhere that he was going to go. It was just right there in front of him. As soon as that car pulled down from in front of him, right there was the next one. He was head on. There was nothing he was going to do.
Just a little among the drivers in that section. Donovan Strauss, though, was up to the top 10 after all the craziness. This is why. And that was clean driving for him. It was Justin Malillo, though, who did not have clean driving. In fact, I think he got shot from behind a little bit from a hit while trying to check up for this.
Yeah, that Radio Shack machine, he's going to have rear end damage. Let's see, who was that actually got into the back? I believe that's the 11 of 𝘋𝘀𝘺. He was the one that didn't quite check up in time, and then 𝘋𝘀𝘺 going to get turned into the outside wall. But Alex, you talked about possibly coming down for tires. Everybody looks like with 13 to go, they will stay out.
Yeah, that's a tough decision to make because tires mean an awful lot, but does that mean you give up your track position? Does that mean you're going to be back there in the dirty air and drivers dicing it up 2 and 3 wide? Even though with 13 laps to go, think about it, it's a 2-mile racetrack. That's 26 miles they're going to have to drive here and try to maintain. The cars are going to get very loose now with these old tires. So some of these cars that have been very good and been on rails, well, they're going to start to slip and slide here in this run to the checker.
That's what's going to make these last few laps really important. Who stops, who doesn't, who can stay out there on relatively old tires and stay out front while those on fresher tires can come to the front. This is going to be good.
Indeed, to reset your top 10, it's Lion, 𝘋𝘀𝘺𝘺, Justice, Guest, and Alfredo. Then Burrows, Huffman, Doucette, 𝘋𝘀𝘺𝘺, and Strauss. Cosey is back up to 11th. Sexton, Maconi, and David Schildhouse has one of the cleanest cars in the field in P14. Talk about a quiet night for the number 20 machine. Schildhouse has a shot here, Roger. By the way, this is the guy who was your lead announcer for the Firecracker 400, the last major event with these cars.
Yeah, he's got a clean car, but this is the thing that's now in the back of my mind, as we're going to go racing with possibly about 10, 11 laps to go in this event. Take a look at some of the drivers behind him. 𝘋𝘠𝘶, Fitzgerald, Overland. They all actually just came down pit road. And Alex talks about the tires. I agree. The tires here tonight are going to be a big factor at the end of this one. I'm wondering if some of those drivers behind that 25 machine are the guys that are going to be on the run here. But a couple of these guys like Nathan Lyon, who are going to restart out front, they think the track position means more.
And here's the big thing about that, and want to hear both your takes first, Alex, and then Bob on this. As we talked about, there is an equalization point about 10 laps into the run between the old tires and the new tires. If this goes green, is their best shot for the drivers on fresher tires here. If it gets caution precautions, they won't have enough laps maybe.
Yeah, you're going to have to sail this car into turn number 1. You may have to take it to the extreme outside lane and try to pick off as many as you possibly can, because we've seen everybody at the front of the field won the preferred line right at the bottom of the racetrack. If you've been paying attention as a driver, you know that's coming. Go ahead and sail it in there and hope it sticks. Try to pick off as many cars as you can in these first couple of laps.
No, I agree with those who stayed out. Track position is too important at this time. Tires, yes, but I don't think there's enough time, although, as you indicated, we do have, we're coming up on 10 laps to go, so a lot of time, but yet I'm glad that if I were in this race and making decisions, I would have stayed out.
See what strategy plays out. 11 to go, 22 miles to go from Auto Club, and another launch. Well done by Lyon and 𝘋𝘠𝘺.
Yeah, they're getting single file. Now that lap down car of Caps once again going to come into factor there. Justice had to wait just a little bit with his Baskin-Robbins 31 machine. He will now clear the lap down car. Michael Guest will clear also. So your top 4 clear the lap down car, and now you can kind of call it a 4-car, a little bit of a breakaway down the back straightaway. Anthony Alfredo wants the inside line, but he's not going to get it. Caps kind of threw a little bit of a block. He's just holding his lane down there. There's nothing wrong with that. The lap down car knows his spot. He's just trying to hold it to the bottom as he'll drift up in 3.
Right nearly into the door of the Nexus Esports machine. Ron Capsule, a lot of sim racing experience recently. We're ran in the replacement series. Actually ran in the Acura Throwback IndyCar series. In open wheel racing and had a rough race at Sonoma, to say the least. Now, I think again he doesn't want to be the factor here in all this, to be the reason someone loses a top 5 or top 10 run here.
I'm glad I have an opportunity to talk about Ron Capps. I've been wanting to all evening. I really appreciate drivers who step into other disciplines. Here's a drag racer who wants to be good in all forms of racing. I'm glad he's come over to the iRacing series, and I hope to see him on the track in a stock car before too very long, and any other car for that matter, in addition to his dragster.
Of course, a one-time champion in the funny cars. Now he's continuing to try and let cars go in 31st spot with the race leaders. They're starting to bunch up a little bit with the 3rd and 4th place cars closing. Guest and Justice had a good start, but now we're slowly reeling in. 8 to go this time. This could be down to these 4 drivers unless something changes.
And those drivers that did come to pit road and take on tires, they're marred back there on the back half of the top 10 or just on the outside of the top 10. So it does not look like they're going to be a factor. However, there's still, 8 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, to be just 8 laps to go this time for Nathan Lyon.
In some trouble off the corner, Cody McCauley among the drivers who just had trouble. They have now raced the line. That 𝘋𝘠𝘺𝘆. And this may be potentially the last restart of the race, because the point of no return is 4 to go, and we get the caution coming to 8 to go, guys.
Yeah, keep in mind with the rules, throwing it back to the era 1987, there was no green-white checker finish. So you're right, this race can and potentially will end under the caution. We'll wait and see how these drivers opt to run this thing. But yeah, it looks like we're going to have just one final restart.
This is why, and we talked about Schildhouse and a clean car. He doesn't have one now.
Hard hit.
For those who do not know, the iRacing commentator's curse is very active on the sim, Roger.
Yeah, sometimes I'm glad you say things that I don't, because now that 25, it's going to be a wrinkled up beer can, because, I mean, just look at that pinball effect. And, I mean, a lot of racers, when you look at that, you're saying your night is pretty much over with.
Yeah, and a rough one there. Here's 𝘋𝘠𝘺𝘆. He's had a quiet race in the Rowdy energy drink machine. Had to dodge a first car, too, by the way. That was Logan Helton who spun it to the bottom of the track.
Yeah, that was definitely a close call for Ray, and that was down in turn number 2. The big issue didn't come till down here in 3 and 4. There you see the flames out the back of that number 25, and then it all kind of breaks loose. The 62 loose to the outside, comes down the speedway, nowhere to go, and boy, oh, 𝘋𝘠𝘺𝘆 almost made it, got tagged from behind, down in 4.
Wow.
He actually got air. I think he rode the safer barrier, in fact, in that. And here's an interesting thing. As we see in our angle to this incident, over the radio just now in live action, Anthony Alfredo has indicated he may be tight on fuel. He put half a tank of fuel in the gas. He may be close to make it on the end. Here's the look from Helton on this caution after he got loose. Wow.
I'm not sure how you call that, JP. I mean, that spinning car to the outside, that was 𝘋𝘠𝘺𝘆, and he was just able to, I don't know if he just scooted by or drove through.
I think he may have actually potentially went under the tires of Ray. Here's an air look to see specifically. They were spinning 3-4 different lanes. And, well, let's put it this way, man, just got lucky, in part. Unfortunately for drivers like Schildhouse, they did not hear. Here's some more looks at what happened in all of this. As again, this put us back under yellow, coming to 5 to go this time in live action. Travis Brown, Caden Rush, Spencer Burns, Helton, all demolished in this. With Nathan Lyon racing back to the line for the race lead once again. Kerwin Guest are 2 and 3. Justice and Alfredo 4 and 5. Burrows, Doucette, Huffman, Carter, and Strauss are your top 10. And with the 1 to go this time, this is the final restart. Next flag ends the race after we get the green here, Alex.
Yeah, it's time now. So if you're 𝘋𝘍𝘁, you've been riding on the back bumper of the race leader Nathan Lyon for the better part of the last 10 or so laps. I believe Casey's going to have to put something together here in this restart. Perhaps move him out of the way going off turn number 2, loosen him up just a bit, and maybe 𝘋𝘍𝘁 can slide underneath, because you can't hold on and wait till the last lap for a potential slingshot, given the fact that a caution flag can end the race. I would want to be the car out front, being the one that is playing defense, if you will. So yeah, if you're 𝘋𝘍𝘁, it's time to go. But if you're Nathan Lyon, the race leader, you're going to block everybody who makes any kind of move whatsoever.
Talk about cars getting loose. We've seen it 1 and 2 with this car, and Jonathan Candell, the Steel Horse Racing Machine, just avoided getting collected, and that's how, on this restart, he's up to the top 20, 22 spots higher from his qualifying spot. But final restart of the California Clash coming up. Nathan Lyon has been letting his engine roar all night long. He's led the most laps. He's had a friend in 𝘋𝘍𝘁. He has a technical alliance mate and Michael Guest behind. Then for North Force, it's Derek Justice and the RCR driver of Anthony Alfredo, your top 5. The question's going to be, which driver will take the checker flag for the California Clash? We're about to find out. Green flag's back out, 4 to go.
With 4 laps to go, the gloves are going to come off. A little bit of a slow start there for Ryan Bauer. He's down to the bottom, and he will get freight trained possibly by the outside. Nathan Lyon, though, will lead us down off into turn number 1. 𝘋𝘢𝘺 right there. Guest also in tow. A little bit of a 3-car breakaway, about maybe call it 3-4 car lengths over that 4th place machine of Derek Justice. With just 4 laps to go, it'll be 3.5 down the back straightaway.
Nobody stepping out of line. Time for Grandma to put her teeth in her pocketbook. This one's going to be a bare knuckler now. 3 cars battling at the front of the field. Maybe a 4th trying to catch on as they race back to turns 3 and 4.
And a good exit for Lyon. It's 0.2 of a second the gap between him and P1. 6 miles to go at the stripe this time. 3 laps to go from Auto Club.
Yeah, with 3 laps to go, it's about a car length and a half over Lyon and 𝘋𝘢𝘺, and that's how it will stay down into turn number 1 with 3 laps to go. Those 3 drivers are trying to run away. Still got Justice laying in the wind back there. Well, we're going to find out. The laps are clicking down.
So far, Lyon is able to hold off the challenge of 𝘋𝘢𝘺, but is that the way it's going to be for these final 2 laps? They're coming up on the white flag coming out this time.
Next time.
2 laps to go, yeah.
We're coming up to 4 miles to go, however, and 2 laps total to go in this one. And still trying to set this up. 𝘋𝘢𝘺 and Guest, no move yet. Lyon still looking comfortable here.
At classic Ford versus Chevrolet battle at Auto Club Speedway of Southern California. The blue oval showing the way, but the Bowtie Brigade, he's got 2 cars on the back bumper in the Chevrolets. Looks like 3 drivers set to settle this one out.
30 years ago, Days of Thunder came out and gave us one heck of a script that we've remembered for 30 years. Tonight here at the Auto Club Speedway, the script is about to end. Who will it be? It'll be the white flag this time by for Nathan Lyon, 𝘋𝘢𝘺, and Guest, the top 3. It'll be 1 lap to go, 2 miles of racing here at the virtual Auto Club Speedway.
The white flag's up at the stand.
Wow.
Yes, indeed. What a drive by these cars. The question is, which driver will get to celebrate? Here comes 𝘋𝘢𝘺 to the outside.
Lyon has that inside line protected, and if 𝘋𝘢𝘺 is going to get the lead, he's going to have to do it from the outside, but he falls back behind, takes the low line now, as Lyon continues to look good. As a matter of fact, 𝘋𝘢𝘺 lost a little bit, about a car length in that exchange.
Final quarters this time for Nathan Lyon. It's been a heck of a past couple days. Led laps at Las Vegas, and now the crowd will roar. It's Nathan Lyon who wins the California Clash for Roush Fenway Racing.
Casey 𝘋𝘢𝘺 to come across the line in 2nd. Michael Guest is 3rd. Derek Justice is 4th. Anthony Burrows rounds out the top 5. Couple of them spinning across the line. But that's your top 5 here in the California Clash. 100 laps in the books, and we have a winner in Nathan Lyon.
And what a drive, and what a past couple weeks. I asked him about this car. He felt it fit his driving style. And now, he proves. He was dominant all week. He had the speed in the Firecracker 400, but not the luck. Tonight, he had both, Alex.
Yeah, he did. The strategy played out. He drove a nice, clean race. He did a phenomenal job as the race leader. That's a tough thing to do when the draft comes into play so much. You have to have one eye out the windshield, one eye on the rear view mirror. Phenomenal job of driving by Nathan Lyon. Congratulations. He's going to victory lane.
Finished 27th at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the series last night, but he moves to P1 for the California Clash, and congratulations to Nathan Lyon.
What a well-deserved drive, and there's a reason. He was the teacher for helping many of the drivers around this track. He brought many of these drivers to school tonight. 80 of 100 laps went in the direction of this number 6. The California Clash presented by iRacing goes to Nathan Lyon. He wins by 0.3 of a second over Denny Hamlin Esports driver Casey 𝘋𝘢𝘺 at the checker. Michael Guest finishes in 3rd with Derek Justice in 4th, with Anthony Burrows coming home in the top 5. In 6th spot at the end of the evening, it's Ryan Bauer with Eddie Kerner, Landon Huffman, Donovan Strauss, and Michael Cosey Jr. quietly getting into the top 10 and avoiding the crash after the strike. Roger.
Just finishing outside the top 10 here tonight. He had himself a good run. He played different strategies all night long. Anthony Alfredo will be good enough for the 11th spot. Coming home 12th, it was also a quiet night for Gary Sexton. He'll finish 12th tonight. Colin Keister, he went for one wild ride down there in turn 3 and 4, able to save it. Going to be a 13th place finish. Michael Fresh gonna come home there 14th tonight. The young man of Logan Helton, he had himself a solid night. Missed a couple wrecks, 15th for him. Justin Bartholomew gonna come home in the 16th position. Caden Rush, another good run. It's only gonna be 17th, but it's still a good run when you look at the class of the field tonight. Jonathan Clennell, the iRacing streamer, driver of the 69, 18th here tonight. Andrew Fitzgerald, well, his night finishes 19th. And rounding out the top 20, it's gonna be the driver of the 22 of Alex Kolonis.
21st spot, Cody McCauley was up and down this evening through the leaderboard, while Mac McMillan, among the drivers who took 2 tires early, ended up getting involved in a couple caution flags in turn 22nd. Joey Stone making his way over from NASCAR Heat, finishing 23rd on iRacing, while Trevor Perry finished 24th. He was up towards the front at some points tonight. Spencer Burns was as high as the top 10, but in the end, it's 25th for him, with Justin Malou, one of the drivers who were part of the fan vote, having a rough race in the end. He finishes the last car on the lead lap, 26th. First car 2 laps down, it's Ron Capps from the NHRA with Travis Martin, Russell Bratka, and Brendan Murza rounding out your top 30 tonight, Roger.
31st tonight, it's going to be Brian Blackford, and sitting 32nd on the finishing standings tonight, it's going to be the NFL Super Bowl champion of Bernard Pollard Jr. Coming home 33rd tonight, it's going to be Travis Brown. Ricky Harden, he was hard into the wall here tonight, it's going to be 34th. David Schildhouse, it was going to be a 35th place finish. Malik Ray, the Rowdy Energy drink driver, comes home 36th. 37th is going to be Chris Overland after having a very strong number 2 Ford in the early stages of this one, 37th. Ray Alfalla, the champion, he's going to come home in a disappointing 38th place finish. Andrew Player is 39th. 40th tonight, it's going to be the driver of the 44. It's the Hall of Famer, Bobby Labonte. Coming home 41st tonight, looks like that is going to be Parsons. 42nd, it's going to be Troy Saber. It's going to be AJ Henderson and Blake Neer rounding out the 44-car field here for the California Clash.
In the end, one driver conquered them all. 4/5 of the race was led by one driver. Nathan Lyon is your winner of the California Clash. Nathan, you put on a clinic. How does it feel to win tonight's race for Roush and for Dead Zone?
It was awesome. One event, one race. Lots of green flag racing early. All those wrecks at the end. Man, it's crazy. It's a crazy, crazy race.
Let's talk about, first off, the pace you had. You were the poster child, so to speak, for what you needed to do to race at this track. To be quick, to be consistent, to save the tires. You actually helped teach some of the drivers with various videos to help drivers get up to speed. What was it like to try and prepare for this event and have this type of speed for the main show tonight?
Definitely doing the heat races last week helped a lot. That was the time I had to prepare for this if I had any time. So I did some heat races to figure out how to save tires and stuff past 20 laps, and definitely helped on that long green flag run. I think I burned them up just a little bit, but I think everyone did because we weren't really expecting it to go green as much as it did early on. But kind of didn't have any time to prepare this last couple days because of Coke, but wanted to take the night off last night after Coke and get back to it today. So when that practice session opened at 7 o'clock, I put about 20 laps down to get used to it again and felt really confident.
A lot of strategy came into tonight, but in the end, you played the track position game. What came down in part to some of these decisions, because you mentioned not expecting as long of a run, for one, but for two, what was kind of the thought process for you and your fellow drivers to think about how are we going to control this race in the end?
The hardest thing with these cautions was when to come in the final time to get that final set of tires, to get that fuel right. Because if it was going green to the end after that long green flag stint, we didn't have enough fuel. So when we pit with, I think like 30 or 40 to go, whenever it was, that that was the commitment right there to get enough fuel in to make it to the end and use that last tire set. And the pit road was hard all day because there's a lot of RNG in these pit stops, meaning that your time can vary between almost 5 seconds. And I lost the lead at first to Casey, but some people stayed out, so that entry kind of didn't really hurt me as much because we had to pass Anthony and Moonhead there at the end when they stayed out. So once me and Casey and Guess were lined up, we had a gentleman's agreement to try and pull away a little bit from guys behind like Derek, and then we're gonna have the gloves go off with 5 to go.
Want to get if you have any questions, and Bob, your take on Nathan's performance. Bob, anything you'd like to say to the winner tonight?
Well, anytime you can lead as many laps as Nathan did and make the strategy calls that he made, you got to really take your hat off to him. A great race, Nathan. Congratulations. I'm impressed with your ability and so glad that you came out on top here this evening.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
A very happy driver tonight. Anyone you want to thank for being the winner tonight in the California Clash?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, everyone depending on this event, all the broadcasters, all the personnel that were behind the scenes. You guys were awesome. Everyone at Roush Family Racing for having me on board for the 2020 season. Everyone at Dead Zone Racing on the Coke side, Houston Hammer and Dustin Lingard for preparing our cars that were amazing last night. Gonzo Steven for spotting me all season. Of course, Cosmet Splash and Go Graphics for painting me these awesome cars. Definitely go with them if you guys need any cosmetic work done on the cars on iRacing. And of course, all the boys over at the Nexus TeamSpeak too. It's always fun to hang out with them.
Congratulations on the victory tonight. Nathan Lyon, your winner of the California Clash. For the man who finished in second, there was a lot of pressure for Casey Kerwin. Yesterday was given a pep talk after the announcement made on Monday for his organization. Performed well at Las Vegas, and tonight nearly won the California Clash. He's with Roger and Alex.
Casey, congratulations on the second place finish here tonight. The field was absolutely stacked, and all night long we saw great racing from you. Tell us though, walk us through those last couple of laps here. You were right behind Nathan, but you had Michael Guess storming down your neck. Did you have a plan of when to go?
I mean, once we all restarted there, and me, Guess, and Nathan kind of worked together and try and get away from everyone else at the start there, and then after that, it was just if you could set up a run at any point. I mean, we were all so even. I finally got close to him there on the last lap, and then I knew he wasn't going to give me the bottom probably, and so he gave me the top into one. And you have to, if you could get your lefts below that seam and hook it a certain way, you could hang on someone's outside. And I drove it in there. I didn't make it, and so I put it to the floor to try and hang on his outside, and it didn't stick. But I gave it my all. I mean, we were all just so even there. It was hard, but yeah, Nathan was so fast all night. It was I think he led most of the race. So yeah, it was a great job by him, and we came close, but just not close enough.
Casey, did you prefer to have some longer green flag runs coming to the checkered flag, or would you prefer to see what we saw there with multiple restarts time and time again?
So I don't really know, before tonight, I never raced this car anywhere besides Daytona or Talladega. So I had no idea what it was going to do on a long run. And the first run, I was going backwards, and everyone in TeamSpeak were like, "Oh, you probably just killed your stuff." Like, I didn't really know exactly how to save. And then come to find out at the end of the run, I just wasn't driving hard enough. So, I mean, I don't know. And then after that, we never really got long runs. So I don't know if I would have done good long run. Again, Nathan was so fast. I don't know if I would have had anything for him, but it definitely is comforting. Probably not for everyone watching who wants to see some great racing, but when it's cautions at the end, you're all just kind of lined up and you're at the front and no one really gets a chance at you. It's nice at the end there, but I think the short run probably was my best bet, but I'm not really sure.
Casey, you talk about Talladega, Daytona. You know, that's the only time you race these cars. All through the week, though, we saw the draft play a big factor here at Auto Club. How big of a factor was it out there behind the wheel?
You know, it definitely meant a lot. If you got good momentum off the corner and were within a car length or two of somebody, you could probably make a move into the next corner. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely played a lot. You know, you you tried to get the right pushes if you're running side by side with people. You know, it was hard to pick a lane. I think whenever I was in the pack, I made some moves on the outside just because I was able to get a push down the back and hang the guys out that got pushed out of the train down the back stretch, so they didn't have draft. So yeah, it definitely meant a lot and worked in our favor to get us to the front, and that's how I got a run on Nathan down into 1. So yeah, it definitely meant a lot.
Well, tonight you came in as one of the favorites. They talked about in the pre-race how every time you step onto the track, you're one of the most dominant drivers. Coming in here on the iRacing.com platform is having a 50% chance to win this one. You know, did you have that chance? You were right there. You were 1 and 2 at the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, I had a shot at it, that's for sure. But yeah, I just didn't know. I came into that fun, obviously, and I didn't know, how good I'd be. Like I said, I'd never raced this thing anywhere besides Daytona or Talladega. So, but we ran good, and Nathan was so fast all night, and yeah, we had a shot at it at the end. That's all we could really do, and I definitely gave my all. I about headed for the inside wall there off the 2 coming to the checkered. So, but yeah, I mean, ran better than I thought, honestly, after the first run. So I'm happy with P2, but also not happy because the win was right there.
Well, a great second place finish for you here tonight, Casey. Who makes it all possible over there at the Denny Hamlin Esports team?
Just thanks to the Jordan brand and Denny for believing in me at the start of the year. We've had an incredibly up and down season in the Coke Series. We won a race, but just about every race we're either in the top 10 or 30th or worse. So luck's been up and down all year, and hopefully we can turn around for the final 5 races and get some good points for the team championship. But it's always nice to put on a good showing in events like this as well. But yeah, thanks to them and everyone at Dead Zone Racing, 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 and Dustin Lingard. They do all of our stuff for the Coke Series. They're our setup builders, and just shout out to them for all their work all year, even though we haven't gotten the results all year. But yeah, it's always a lot easier with great people behind you to motivate you. So.
Well, tonight 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 had the pretty much almost the glass slipper. Tonight it didn't quite fit, as he will come home in the second position. Kerwin had a shot there at the end, just slid off of turn number 2, and that's kind of what put him behind. JP, though, I believe you're standing by with another one of these drivers tonight with an interesting story behind it.
Yes, indeed. One of the drivers who got in via the fan vote was Andrew Player. Drove through the grass, launched up 5 feet above the air at the line, in fact, trying to win stage 1 of LCQ night. But in the end, decent performance, was up towards the front here and there. It may have been a 39th place finish, Andrew, but how does it feel to be a part of this event? Andrew Player, do you have a copy?
Yep, I got you there. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's a tough night, but I really want to thank all the people that came out and voted to see the New Hampshire State Police Fallen Troopers Memorial Car in the field. Really appreciate all that fan support. Really humbled by that, and thankful for the New Hampshire State Police and the New Hampshire Troopers Association to let me run this special scheme tonight.
I was going to ask, why did you run this scheme tonight? It was a different one, should note, from the previous nights, but what came into the decision to run this car this evening?
Well, going for the fan vote, I really wanted to try and make some awareness for this. It's a project that's been long overdue. Lieutenant Brian Strong from New Hampshire State Police has been working really hard to make this a reality, and we're still a long way to go for the fundraising efforts. And I'm a trooper myself, so I'm really just excited to be able to try and represent the fine men that are on the side of that car. And I really wanted to bring home a good finish for them, but I'm really hopeful that we raise some money tonight for that New Hampshire State Police Fallen Troopers Memorial.
Overall, what was it like trying to prepare for this race, and in turn knowing you're racing against some of the best, some of the best drivers on the service, some of the major legendary drivers like the Labontes, like the Ron Capses? What was it like trying to digest all that?
Definitely intimidating. I've been sim racing for 25 years, but I'm certainly not at the caliber of those guys. My wife lets me spend probably way more time than I should down here in the basement racing, but definitely intimidating going up against those guys. Ray Alfalla, 4-time champion, Bobby Labonte, NASCAR Hall of Famer, just fantastic guys to race against. I got stronger as I went, so I was really excited that I was doing better as the week went on. So really pretty happy with the performance that I gained. I was picking up speed. I ran a 42, what was it, like a 43.3 earlier in practice today, and I was really excited to bring home a strong finish.
Indeed here, and Bob, I'm curious what you may have in terms of thoughts or questions when it comes to a driver such as this with the background he's got, who had to fight his causeway in, mind you, into this race.
Well, anybody who is a law enforcement officer or first responder, I always take my hat off to, and it's great to see you involved in this kind of sport and for participating here at the Speedway here tonight. It was fun for me, and I must admit that I'm impressed with all of this iRacing. I'm not familiar with the sport very much. I really knew nothing about it until it came to the forefront this year. But yeah, I just want to offer my congratulations to you, Andrew, and thank you for all that you do and for a good run here tonight.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate California Clash putting on this event, 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 Sports for having the broadcast. You know, really an outstanding event all the way around, especially for an amateur guy like myself to get a chance to race against top caliber folks. You know, so many of these guys are running the eNASCAR, Coca-Cola iRacing Championship, and really a great time, probably as close as I'm ever going to get to running that with those type of guys again. So I really appreciate the opportunity, and again, thank the fans for voting me, and I really do appreciate that, and I'm really humbled by their support, so thank you.
Guys, I'm going to sneak out if that's okay with you. I want to compliment you guys for a tremendous job. I thought during the broadcast, gee, I sure am glad that I'm not your age, because I would probably be doing what I thought I was going to do at one point, and that is own a Dairy Queen instead of going into broadcasting. But I do congratulate you guys and tell you that you did a great job, and that everybody who I have worked with, especially Ryan, in setting this thing up for me and taking care of the technical problems we had during the broadcast. I really appreciate all the effort that you went to, and I'll see you soon, hopefully, I hope.
Thank you very much, Bob. It was an absolute honor, and I'm not underselling this in terms of working with you and Alex, Hayden. An absolutely huge broadcast tonight, and many of these drivers, I think, feel the impact of this event this evening. Thank you, Bob, and hope to speak with you soon. Great job this evening, sir.
Thank you.
That was Bob Jenkins joining us on the call this evening. Want to get the final thoughts from my fellow broadcasters. First, let's go to Alex Hayden, the voice of NASCAR. It's great to work with you as well this evening. Your thoughts on what was an eventful race?
Yeah, it really was. I was impressed all the way around, given the fact that the race had some strategy involved in it. It had good, hard 2, 3, in some cases 4 wide racing. Certainly we had our share of wrecks. We had our thrill at the finish. What was going to happen in the closing laps? Was Nathan Lyon going to hang on? Was he going to outduel 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 and Michael Guest? So we had a little bit of everything throughout the race tonight. I was honestly thrilled with it. So grateful you guys invited me to be a part of this. Justin, Roger, Eric, Ryan, all of you guys, thanks so much for all of your help and for inviting me. And I know Bob has just left us, but how great was it to have Bob Jenkins? Not only a thrill for me to work alongside him here in this broadcast, but more importantly, just wonderful to sit back and listen to Bob Jenkins again. So a great race, a great event. The California Clash was a huge success. My heartfelt congratulations to Nathan Lyon, the winner of the California Clash.
Thank you, Alex, and it's definitely a huge performance tonight. Real quick, Roger, your final thoughts before we say goodbye.
Well, 30 years ago, Days of Thunder came out. The theme this week here leading up to this main event with the heat races, the last chance qualifier, seeing the old 1987 cars right here onto the iRacing.com platform. It was absolutely an amazing event. To work with Alex and Bob, two of the best in the business, and hearing those voices, you know, remember back into the 90s when you heard Bob on the air over at ESPN and so on through the seasons, everything he has done for the NASCAR community and now helping us out here on iRacing. Listening to Alex throughout the years on MRN radio, he is definitely a voice. And of course, being right here next to you, JP, obviously an amazing time on iRacing. We got to thank, obviously, everybody that tuned in all week long to watch the California Clash. Without them, none of it would be possible. JP, great work this week. Ryan behind the scenes. Also, we got to give a nod to the producer.
Lots of work was put in. Have to give credit to Race Control as well for calling the shots and keeping a tight ship throughout this entire event. But Eric, what an event. A week of races closes out with one dominant performance and one driver taking the checker flag in Nathan Lyon.
Certainly a dominating performance for Nathan Lyon and 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 Racing. And of course, I want to second what all of you have said. It's been a great pleasure to work with such a talented broadcast booth tonight. Justin, it's been great to work with you again. Roger Muth, it's been great to meet you and get to know you during this weekend. And of course, Alex, Hayden, and I know Bob Jenkins has left, but you guys, of course, I've grew up listening and watching, and really an honor to get to be in the same booth as you guys and get to call some great action tonight. But of course, a huge thank you to the hundreds, if not thousands, of people we had tuning in across multiple platforms tonight to watch the first ever California Clash. I thought it was a fantastic show, and I hope all of you enjoyed it as much as I did. But that's all I've got for tonight. Justin, you can send us out.
Yes, indeed. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to thank our partners throughout this event for the California Clash: Maconi Setup Shop, Top Flight Computers, 6-2 Designs, Slipstream Creative Media, and Sim Racing Shirts. Without them, it wouldn't be possible to put on an event such as this caliber, but in the end, these drivers fought hard to take the checker flag here, and in the end, it is 𝘋𝘢𝘺𝘴 Racing and Dead Zone Racing driver Nathan Lyon who takes home the victory. I'd like to thank again my broadcast partners for this evening, and Alex Hayden, along with Bob Jenkins, along with Roger Muth, along with the broadcasters who took part in the earlier days, such as Ricky Springer, and the hundreds of drivers who registered and took part in this event and its preparation for what turned out to be one of the biggest races of 2020. With that, it's time to say goodbye. For our producer Ryan Bauer, for Gary Sexton and John Theodore, I'm Justin Prince. So long, enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching the California Clash presented by iRacing from the virtual Auto Club Speedway. Congratulations to Nathan Lyon on taking the checker flag.